Hello, everybody. Welcome. I hope we're all doing good. So, oh gosh. Today, finally, I really hope it's going to happen. Today, we are going to try and do the Straits of Devastation event at the end of the stream. Oof, could be good. So, yeah, we're going to be playing Living World Season 4, a bit more Daybreak, progressing through with that. I got lots to talk about in terms of Trails in the Sand, which very regretfully I had to miss out on yesterday. The monthly as well, I never really got to follow too much. I did get some time to PvP last night, which was nice. What was the other big thing yesterday? There were like 3 things. Well, 4 things, sorry. There was Straits of Devastation, Trails in the Sand. Oh, and then I had to raid, which isn't really to do with videos or anything. However, I did, I've got everything on Winged 6 done now, except Kadim CM, which I've never tried. I think we will be trying next week, so that's nice. Yeah, generally all going pretty good. Not any kind of crazy massive intro today. I do want to just say hello to everyone in chat. So, Zygan1 said, is WP streaming today or no? Why are people asking that before the stream would even normally start? Is that because of the time, the clock, the hours and stuff? So the time right now is 5 o'clock for me, which is the normal stream time. However, did the clocks in the UK move today? Is that what happened? So, like, I'm noticing the sun is really low in the sky. It's twilight right now, right as the stream is starting. Goddamn twilight. So I think that might be because the clocks moved. I'll give it a couple more weeks. We'll be in blackness the whole way through. So anyway, yeah, if that's what threw people off, it's just clock stuff. I always start at 5 o'clock, and that's it. So what else we got? Ratchi's there in chat. It's good to see you. Benji, it's good to see you. Geobyte. Yeah, Geobyte there says the hours changed, I think, a little. Yeah, and I changed the title a second ago there, which will have tipped you guys off. Is WP Big Brother, where's the Eye of Janthir emote? I should look at the emotes. You guys got to understand, I've been very, not in a good place for a while now. And I've not really been looking at a lot of stuff like that. I've not been productive with a ton of different things. So there's a few emote slots we do have. I can maybe use an Eye of Janthir. However, I've also got a lot of responses I think I need to look at from Darg and stuff. And when I can sort of get stuff back on track, I'm sure I'll do that. Doesn't somebody already have the Eye as theirs? Oh, what? Another person in the community might already have the Eye of Janthir. That kind of makes sense, I think. Yeah, we do have Angadora's Gaze. Look at that. That's pretty goddamn awesome. Isn't that what Twitch really is? A bunch of no-life nerds? Not entirely. Not entirely. Sometimes you see people with lives. I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed, I watched a stream from the Paradox devs, right? And they have so many products on the go and stuff. Their stream channel can, like, keep a lot of things going. Anyway, they're doing a thing where they get, did I mention this on a stream or not? They're doing this thing called a dev clash, which they do for, I think, EU4, but they've just started doing for Stellaris now. And I know none of you listening to me are going to be Stellaris fans or sharing that passion of mine. But, they all get, basically they get a massive multiplayer server going with like 25 of their devs all at once. I think it's actually 24. And they're all role-playing and playing as different empires and all versusing one another. And the show on Twitch is the game director, the guy in charge of like most of the big broad scope decisions. And like basically the stream guy, they're there producing a show, hosting it, showing the next version of the game before the players can play it with all the devs at once in a massive brawl. And how cool is that, right? So it's a really cool stream, and you get to see like them even coming up with balance considerations as they watch. They're like, oh, everybody's picking the weak trait too much. Maybe we'll nerf that. And, you know, well, this guy's snaking too much and not being punished. I guess I'll add a penalty to the game on the next release that has that. It's really awesome to see that insight, right? But they're all playing, and then at the end of the stream, all the devs come in the room on the stream, and like they all just chat to the camera about what they were doing, and it was so amazing, man. Those guys all look like they have real lives. They're all like working jobs, and it's very, very, very cool kind of stream format. I wish ArenaNet had something like that they could do. I don't know what Guild Wars has in that capacity. I guess there's actually a ton that Guild Wars has in that capacity. I don't know, guild infrastructure is where they'd need to start, really. But anyway, yeah, look, not everyone on Twitch is a no-life nerd. Some people are, you know, on the stream, living their lives. It's amazing. Clayton says, ready to yell late when it's a minute past. Yeah, sorry, buddy. But I very rarely leave people the opportunity to do that, because it genuinely pisses me off. It genuinely irks me. It shouldn't. And it's my own neurosis, it's my own idiocy, but it really, it's just the uncreativeness of it. It's just that people think that it's funny, and it's something that you literally see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I'm gonna whine about 30 seconds. It's just so bad. So yeah, I'm always bang on the dot. Or early. And not always, to tell the truth. Daybreak's almost a year old. Yeah, I know. Don't remind me. It's really weird to think of that way, right? Something no Kadeem. Yeah, I noticed people actually made like art of that and stuff. I don't know whether that was related just to my stream. I mean, that's really where it seemed to take off, but it was kind of cool. You finally got into the LP. Fantastic work. Well, fellow Joe, if you are watching this, at the end of today's stream, I'm hoping to get in-game in the Straits of Devastation and record the next episode of the LP with you guys doing the third and final meta. And then we're going to change some stuff up because the series should be over by now. And it's not, because it's been through a massive stall throughout the release of A Star to Guide Us, Halloween. What was it that happened between the two as well? Something happened between the two that totally threw me as well. Anyway, all that, and then juggling the community Straits of Devastation things has just been bad. So we'll figure some out, and that's going to refine quite a bit of. I haven't talked about some of the plans for the LP yet, but there's like a whole branch of the LP that I might be canning now based on how the Straits stuff went. I don't know though. Clocks went back. My time is now UTC synced. Cool. So I'm back on server time. Very nice. Which I am for the majority of the year, I think. Or maybe half of the year, the summer months, I'm not. I still don't really get. I really don't. Maybe someone could tell me this in chat. I'm not ashamed to display my ignorance here. I genuinely don't understand why the clocks move. I've heard it was to do with like wartime stuff. I've heard it's to do with farming in some way, like to preserve as many hours of the working day in sunlight as possible. But then why? I don't really get. I know various explanations, but not the details of why those explanations make any sense, if that makes sense. Anyway. You're still waiting for the day WP will go through his DMs. Yeah, Dusty, I think I've seen... Yeah, I see that I have a DM from you there. Yeah, and it's got the little notification there. Aloda's, even though I showed my 14-month yesterday, Twitch lets me do it again today. Oh, well, thanks for the streams again then, WP. Wow, that's crazy cool. Thanks, dude. So, yeah, did you just do it twice in a row? A T3 as well, Alodas. Oh, I need a way to, like, thank people. You know, the big fans. I need a way for people to actually feel like it's worth it. Dude, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And, yeah, I see your name there on twice. Thank you. We get Wild vs. Wild streams. Yeah, they do Wild vs. Wild streams, but Wild vs. Wild is so, like, devoid of meaning or importance. It's not the same in any way, is it, really? Like, a Wild vs. Wild ArenaNet dev clash thing might be interesting, but not really. Did your clock change there? I think we are 2 weeks behind you here. What do you mean 2 weeks? Oh, is there a 2-week offset between the clocks moving? Is that what you mean? Anyway. Alright, okay. You would have stalled by tower down at some point anyway. What do you mean? Towered down? I'm not sure what you mean by towered down. Was it the feature pack that added tonics and shit to the wardrobe? I've lost the conversation here. What are you talking about? The feature pack that added tonics and shit to the wardrobe? What about it? It's no longer relevant in modern day. What is no longer relevant in modern day? Oh, you're talking about the time thing. So it's light out when people get up in the morning. Yeah, and that's to do with farming, right? It's something to do with agriculture, I think. You think I'm canning a single meta? No. It would be a bigger aspect of the LP than just one meta. It was supposed to save power. It was just set up to save energy, but that didn't work out. Really? What's the principle behind that? I mean, if I could, I genuinely would just abolish the concept. It's unfeasible and you can't do it, right? It's that same issue that, you know, with like technology standards, where you try and resolve it by creating a new one, and then you've just added more standards to the pool because not everybody will unanimously swap or whatever. But I believe in just abolishing the idea of time zones altogether. You know, it's totally irrelevant. Especially in the modern age where, you know, I'm sitting here talking into a microphone and someone's probably listening to me in New Zealand right now, or Australia right now, or, you know, everywhere on the globe. It would be nice to just have that simple communication. It's just a nuisance. What a boring topic. Catch up with TwitchCon announcements. Lots of new stuff for streamers and viewers coming up, says Calamari. Like what? It's not that old, guys. It's relatively recently been set up to save energy, but it didn't change anything. So there's absolutely no reason for the clocks to change. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about two different things. The idea of shifting a clock and also the idea of time zones. They're different things, I guess. Mad Minds, it's good to see you. BR Spies, it's good to see you. Towered Down was a quest that was bugged. It would have halted your LP. Oh, I've already done Towered Down, though. Benji, what do you mean? Oh, you mean from before? No, I'm not happy. I'm not that unhappy with the pace pre-Astar Guide Us. I think the pace pre-Astar Guide Us has been okay. But the past month, I'm really not happy with. There's been two big stalls. One was when Astar Guide Us came out, and the other one was when I can't remember what it's called right now. Long Live the Lich came out. Both of those episode releases have really tampered with and it really frustrates me actually that I'm in a position where I've been doing that I've just let I don't have to let, but it's really hard not to let everything fall apart like a house of cards or whatever when a new release comes out, because people just demand that, you know. And I've not even really covered Halloween in a good way at all. Afternoon. Hey, it's good to see you, Harry. Thanks so much for the sub, dude. It's good to see you. Who started Daylight Saving Time? The idea of resetting clocks forward an hour in the spring and back an hour in the autumn was first suggested by Benjamin Franklin in his essay, An Economical Project for Diminishing the Cost of Light, which was published in the Journal de Paris in April 1784, November 5th, 2010. Oh, no, and your citation is from November 5th, 2010. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, China, people have tried getting rid of time zones, says Benji. China is like a huge country that quite clearly spans very different, you know, sunrises and sunset points, but it's all one time zone, right? And it's weird just there, but I think it's you know, it's not an idea. Or it used to be like that. Maybe they've changed it now. I don't know. Listening in Denmark, Mark, so you're basically just shouting across the water. As long as it isn't pitch black when I wake up to commute to uni, I'll be fine with whatever happens. Hey, WP, I really like the Stronghold video on Wooden Potatoes too. I'd love to see more of those, said Releski. Really, dude? I appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's quite an old game now, actually. I played that game maybe like a week ago. I played that game before I recorded the jumping puzzle series or whatever, the marker pack series. But the way that the uploads timed out, I did the other one. But yeah, Wooden Potatoes 2 is gonna go very VOD spammy mode, starting probably within about 6 hours or so. Just gonna be lots of VODs are gonna start going up there, and I've given all those other videos time to breathe and stuff. Yeah, if people missed it, it's a game on Strongholds where, so I was, here, I'll show you all. I really need to go, guys, and do the intro. This is getting a bit silly. But so, for example, I realized 2 weeks ago now that I didn't have any of the Stronghold achievements in the game yet. Or enough of them. Sorry, just waiting for this to load through. Hell of a loading screen. So let's see. Competitive. Yeah, here you go. So Battle of Champions Dusk. I didn't really have any of these. Which is it? So one of them requires 25 wins. This one here, 25 wins. And I didn't have really any of them. The thing was, it wasn't that I'd never played 25 games on this map. It's just that when I'd played 25 games on this map was before they added an achievement category per map. So I was pretty much empty on it. So I just spammed Stronghold games. My win rate was obscene on it as well. I was getting like probably like an 80 to 85% win rate. I've very rarely ever lost on that game mode. But the only reason why is pretty much, and I'm terribly sorry to say this if you play this and you're in my audience right now, but everyone that I found in that game type is terrible at Guild Wars 2. Really, really bad. There were like a couple of people that were average. It was rare to find that. And, you know, 50% of those times they'd be on your team anyway, so you'd be alright. But basically what you could do to just win on this was just play team deathmatch. I mean, I'm not being funny. You would open up and try and make sure their wall goes down and yours stays up. And then you just wander around killing people. I was playing Condi Mirage the whole time as well, which is like the most cheesy, ridiculous kind of nasty thing as well. To abuse newish people. They don't know how to target you and stuff like that. Lots of disengaged potential. So, yeah, I just farmed people. Like, I just treated it like team deathmatch largely. And I was getting these achievements. Anyway, by the 25th win, but it was like by win 19 or something, I'd started to like understand the game a little bit more. And I had a game where I was playing 4v5. I won't spoil whether I won or lost it, but we only had 4 people and they had a full team, and it was a long game that went right up to the last moment. So yeah, it was, and I thought I'd do a game of the day of it. So I did that, and then while I was getting my achievements, then I did the jumping puzzles and all that, blah blah blah. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like what you said about giving T3 subs something special. The streamer can give special VIP badges to them when they want. Oh, really? So, if I see I've got a VIP... What, and I would do that manually, right? I'd be like, oh, this guy's at all the streams. This guy's a legend. I'll give him a special badge. Thing is, I'm not really a believer in having tons of different ranks and, like, badges and things. I think you can only have a couple so that it's special and recognizable and understandable. So, if, like, 90% of the chat ends up having the special thing, it's not a special thing anymore. Do you know what I mean? There was a vote in the EU, and from 4.6 million votes, 2/3 has been from Germany. What's that over? Are we still talking about time zones? Are we talking about Saudi Arabia? Haven't been on for a while. Are you doing anything new with the new Tomb Raider? Says Harry. So Harry, I did play Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And I didn't enjoy it that much. I really must be honest. I was very close to tweeting about it as well, but I thought that it seemed a bit acidic on my tongue right before I clicked send, so I didn't. But I didn't really like the game that much. It's got a lot of the problems that Rise of the Tomb Raider has, in that there's a ton of cool perks and a ton of cool combat, and the gunplay and everything feels really good. It really does. And there's also, you know, there's so many tools they give you to approach situations. But there's no content there, really. There's no... Like, it feels like... I mean, this is not an exaggeration. It feels like 70% of what should have been the game and combat sequences and opportunities to utilize the perks and things you're getting are just not in the game at all. It's like they had feedback that there was too much fighting, so they just eliminated it all, and it's just like a story simulator, basically. It's literally just like press W to get story, and then sometimes there'll be a fighting sequence where you get so obscenely overcharged and overpowered so quickly, you basically just press F on a ton of people, one in stealth, and you win the engagements. Like, you get so many weapons and upgrades and little things. And it would be easy to say that the game is too short because, you know, it's got the platform has got so much more to give, but it just runs through too quickly. But that would be wrong. It's not that the game's too short. It's that it's not dense enough with what it offers. It's got all these beautiful environments and stuff that you're basically going to look at for all of about 5 to 10 seconds, and then you're gone. Also, story-wise, so that's one half of it as a game. As a story experience, it's really struggling as well. Its tone is really conflicted and confused with itself. It's kind of like the DC problem, where they try to differentiate themselves from Marvel and say, oh, Marvel's lighthearted, so we're going to be the dark, or we're going to be the more serious tone and stuff. And then you find out it doesn't work later. recent gen Tomb Raider seems to be struggling so much to make itself different from what Uncharted was doing. But Uncharted had a very clear tone and understanding of how to handle itself, when to be light and when not to be. Tomb Raider is just... It tries to be really dark and gritty and serious and heavy all the time. But it can't sustain itself like that. And when you try to view a character like that, when you try and view Lara through that lens of, oh, this is real, she just falls apart completely in her murderous rampage through all these people. Like, her opponents aren't interesting, they're not captivating, they're not mysterious, you can't particularly get behind their agenda, and worst of all, the protagonist, Lara, seems no better than them in any way. Her companion, Jonah, is like, alright, but there's not enough characters. She doesn't... There's no stakes. It's bad, man. It's not good. The only really good game story-wise, I think, of this generation, like, really good, was the first. But only because it held the Trinity thing as, like, this secretive, like, enigma at the end. It felt like it was going to open the door to something further. The second game stalled the Trinity plot quite a lot. You'll know my thoughts very comprehensively on that if you've watched my series on it. The third game does nothing to push the story at all. It does nothing. And then, bizarrely as well, I'm not even going to say the last act, but I'm going to say the closing moments of Shadow. It really feels like the devs just got a memo that, oh crap, we're not going to make another one. So, let's just quickly take out the Trinity High Council. Let's do this, this, and this. I'm not spoiling, I promise. I'm really not spoiling what's going on. But it tries to feel conclusory when it's really not. It's very, very disappointing. And you know what makes me really sad as well, to sort of... I really want to love the game because it's sincere. You can tell the devs really are very sincere about what they're trying to make, and you can tell that they really love what they're trying to make, but they're not good at it. It's not good. And it really, really, really tears me up to say that and to realize that about myself with Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider, I'm like such a Tomb Raider fan for so many years. And I will continue to watch the products and play the products, but we're very much in that situation where, like, you know, like Spyro got handed off from Insomniac. You can feel like the touch just isn't there right now, and I don't know, it depresses the hell out of me. There's a lot of different places I would have wished that they would have taken it. It feels really soulless in a lot of ways as well. You know, the Uncharted thing, right? If you guys have played Uncharted 4, you know what a good game Uncharted 4 is. Uncharted 4 is a real masterpiece in a lot of ways. One of the best moments of Uncharted 4 that's really worthwhile and a great experience is they do these flashback scenes where you get to play as Nathan Drake when he's a kid, right? And so guess what? Shadow the Tomb Raider just sort of shoehorns in there. And it's a great moment of Shadow. It's a wonderful moment. It's a really cool moment. You get to play as young Lara back at the mansion while it's not in disrepair, as we saw in the DLC on the previous game. And so you get to experience that. But it feels really soulless because you can tell it's just a grab at something that dev team was captured by from the other franchise. You could just tell, right? You could just feel these little things. Like, there's stuff that's in the game and it's just there because it's kind of been corporately copied in. Because, oh, that's a formula for success, right? And that all those little things just kind of ebb away at the experience for me, and I don't get it. And it's not that I've played too much of their kind of collection style experience. Like I say, I think the format actually is really good. The gunplay is really good. The stealth options, the movement through the environments is pretty good. As good as, you know, adventure platformers can be in this day and age, where it is pretty much just hold... I mean, Uncharted struggles from that as well. Jump and hold W, and... you know, it's pretty goddamn on rails when you're in platforming sections. You know, it's all pretty good. It's just... I think the biggest problem is that gameplay stuff that I talked about earlier at the start, that most of it seems missing. If you guys are going to play Shadow, let me say, it's an alright game. It's a mediocre game, alright? And that's what really upsets me about it. It's a mediocre game. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to play it, do not play it on anything beside the hardest of difficulties. I know what you're going to think when you hear me say that. Oh, that's just WP. He plays games too much. He's too into it. He's lost perspective, blah, 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 blah. I promise you, it is not an experience worth having. And it's not that I'm out of touch unless you actually force it to be a game in some capacity. Just don't play on the normal whatever they called it, adventure, I think it was, or raider mode or something. I mean, because it's pathetic. It's a real shame. It's beautiful and whatnot, you know, and clearly has money put into the production, but that's not enough to make me say that a game's good. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Shadow. Even if I'd loved it and adored it, by the way, you wouldn't have been seeing a series from me on YouTube because there's other stuff, other ambitions that I have and even and want to do, and now I'm depressing myself again. So, anyway, yeah, let me just quickly scroll through chat here. In old games, Perfect World will have new classes, which is kind of making me go back. Wait, what? In old games, Perfect World will have 2 new classes, which is kind of making me... Are you talking about the MMO right now, Perfect World? There's no punctuation or anything in that comment, so I'm not quite sure how to read it. A nice drawing. Oh, you guys are talking about some fan art? What is the best class to start playing this game? Guild Wars. Sorry, you've been watching this stupid screen here. I've been running around Heart of the Mist the entire time. What's the best class to start playing Guild Wars? It depends what side of Guild Wars you're into. Inktober. What is Inktober? You can only give yourself 10 or so, if I remember correctly. Oh, like special VIP badge thingies. That's kind of cool. I have liked watching your marker pack videos. They are an awesome thing for the community, but they also gets me a bit down on the game design. The devs are really terrible at both using and showing mechanics of their own game. Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a lot of really shoddy stuff on the core trilogy of maps. I think the blatant Kylo breakout is a big thing. I would like the devs to look at it. Things just seem so slow and stagnated in terms of like what they do competitively for the game. So I don't know what they have capable of doing. I don't know how difficult it is to update the environments of those maps and whatnot. But yeah, what I kind of sneakily would really like to happen is I would like someone on the dev team to download that marker pack and use it as a guide for toddlers, basically. On here, look, this is a thing you should nerf, or you should fix, or adjust with the terrain. Now walk to this icon. Please change this icon here. And, you know, they can walk along literally and just press the taco hotkey to delete the hotkey every time. To delete the marker every time they do that. And, you know, like, that's the most simple, easy way to find... And if all those spots that I've got in those, you know, the cheesy spots and stuff, get refined... And by refined, I don't mean deleted. I mean, is this intended? If yes, is it well telegraphed? No? So make it more well telegraphed, you know. It's just very, very simple stuff like that. If it is not intended, delete it, right? That's all they got to do. Just ask those 2 questions. Is it intended? If the answer is no, delete it. If it is intended... Or do you like it? Is it well telegraphed? And if the answer is no, then fix the telegraphing and then just move on to the next spot. I'd love them to do that. But there you go. The vote was related to time shifting. I didn't know that the EU did that. That's kind of cool. Too long didn't read. Lara's rack is 75% too small. Needs more. Yeah, like, that's like one of the things, right? Like, Lara's visual design, right? Like, that's another side of the soulless element of it, right? Like, why is it in each of the 3 this was supposed to be like her origin trilogy, right? So, that's what they're saying now, anyway. The origin trilogy of how we get to the Lara we all know. So, what is the Lara we all know? What do those devs even think that is? Is it a Gen 1 Lara? Which is basically a female badass James Bond type character who really gives no shit and is hardened and is awesome. Like, I really like that Lara. Like, late 30s, early 40s, matronly, badass. Like, that's a cool Lara. If it's an origin trilogy for us to get to that kind of character, I was well up for it. And it's a cool start as well. For it to be really gritty, lines up for that as well. You know, when she's a young girl, she has all this absolutely atrocious stuff that happens to her. Then, yeah, you can imagine how she becomes this quite brutal, cold, you know, calculated... mocking, you know, cynical. She like jokes about stuff as well. She's James Bond, right? She's female James Bond. How she becomes that, then that's a cool origin trilogy. But so, or you know, even if you want her to be like the Gen 2 or the movie Lara, you know, the more like Angelina Jolie style thing, fine. Pick one of them. but they didn't do that. What they did, and then what you do with your origin trilogy is you have her on the Endurance and at Yamatai. You have her like really young and youthful and energetic, and you sell her as a sex symbol. Like, you do that, and that's what they've done in various capacities for Lara through the ages, and they're not solely, you know, at fault for that or whatever. You know, it's part and parcel of the industry, even to an extent, right? But you do that for the first game, but in the sequel, in the second game, you refine the way that the character looks by aging her a bit and start bringing her closer to those other interpretations. If you're going for the Gen 2 interpretation, as you age her maybe a reasonable amount. If you're going for Gen 1, you can slap a good 6-7 years on her, and she can still be hot, and she can still be sexy, but she should start looking older. She should start growing. You should be true to the character. But what they do is they just, like, tweak her, like, where she doesn't even really look like the same character. They're just trying to sell that same idea of a young, hot Lara, but they're just trying to, like, alter her, and it's so cynical and gross. And then with the third game, you age her a bit more. You continue going to that end point. You do that, right? Like, and if it means that she's not so sexy anymore, if it means that you're not going to get so many 14-year-olds buying it because they like the look of the girl on the box, fine. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, you want to push into that direction. And that's something that, like, Uncharted does very well. Nathan Drake gets older, you know? There's a lot of franchises that I have immense respect for. Doesn't Metal Gear Solid do that really well as well, right? Like, they just basically changed it into a different girl that somehow... She looks younger in the third game than she does in the first, all right? And if you're doing that, then there's a real sign. Not to get started on how much they alter Jonah's character as well. Tweak his ethnicity just to make him more fitting in this game, which is kind of hilarious. You know, like, that's like the soulless stuff that I think that they just don't... They don't put the game first, you know? There's too much tampering. It's so obvious that there's too much tampering. There's too much, like, controlling shit going on from higher up. There's no one that really loves the character. Or you know, all there is, because you see on the credits, they, like, show all the dev team, and they all have their picture up there, and they say, we really hope you like this. We love Tomb Raider, and we really, really want you to enjoy it. We made this for you guys, the fans. And, you know, on their credits, they have a list of all the fan websites as well for Tomb Raider stuff, even quite obscure stuff that's out there on the internet. Tomb Raider fandoms, you know, they nod to, and they're like, yeah, you know, we did this for you guys. We hope you love what we've done. And, you know, they're really trying, but I'll tell you what, it's either a problem with too many cooks or just incompetence. I'm sorry, incompetence. I don't know. And I don't want to be in this position of saying this, but that trilogy could have been so much more than it is. And now it's like we're in a weird position where it's like half on ice. What are we expecting? A bit of DLC? They sold the season pass, right? So what? We'll get a bit of DLC, and then we're over. And that's been a whole problem. You know, the forced in multiplayer and the trading pack cards in the sequel and all that kind of stuff. The unnecessary extra mini games. This all should have been pure raw dev talent and energy focused on the key parts of what they wanted that franchise to be. And if they wanted that to be a story-driven thing about Lara and her development as a character and investment in that universe, then that's what it should have all been focused on. But it's not. And I'll tell you why it's not. It's because someone has to get a return on investment by getting more bullet points on the case. Anyway, you're getting me ranting about Tomb Raider too much. One of the things I was set back was the Festival of the Four Winds. Yes, that was another thing. Yeah, that wasn't between Star to Guide Us and Halloween though. That was in the middle of that. We were doing all right with the LP at that point, I think. But yeah, that was a bit of a setup. Hey WP, can I ask if you use GPU or CPU encoding, and if you use CPU, do you have separate encoding PC? No, I do it all on this PC. I take a frame hit for it, but it's all here. And I think I'm on CPU. I change it from time to time. I'll give you a proper answer here. I am currently I'm actually currently encoding on the GPU currently. So yeah. What else we got? Is this going to be another stream where he talks for 2 hours but thinks it's only been 15 minutes and it becomes an AMA stream? No, it's not, because that was too recent. 34 minutes we've gone, so I will just quickly intro in a second. Did you hear that they patched the ending of Shadow last minute and you can find the original ending on YouTube? No, I never heard that. What was the original ending? That you've just reminded me of another problem where the story is conflicted as well in how it managed the supernatural and handled the supernatural. Like, it worked a certain way in the first game because you don't know what the boundaries of the universe are, right? So, is there actually magic here? Are the storms a coincidence? Are they not? Jonah's cynicism and Alex's cynicism and what was that other guy? The old guy? I can't remember his name. That ended up being a douchebag. These people questioning it comes from a real place and an understandable place because it's like, well, yeah, you know, like we don't know. But then they have blatantly at the end of the first game established that there's a witch that controls the weather and an eternal spectre, poltergeist of death that is inhabiting these bodies and seeking to return to the world. Once you've done that, all right, you have to actually assess and address that and start talking about the ramifications of that and play with that. And it's not an obligation. That's where the fun is, right? You can't just do a couple of little things in your between games comic series. You have to actually have your universe grow. And yet in both the second and the third game, we go through the same BS, like, and admittedly in Shadow it is pretty de-emphasized, but the same conversation where Jonah's being cynical that like, is the box actually a thing? Or are the natural disasters actually because of you, Lara? Are they... Like, come on, you don't... Not to mention that they use the exact same formula as well for like, oh, there's a scary third party. Ooh, is it the Oni? Ooh, is it the Undying? Ooh, is it... What were they called in Shadow? I can't even remember the name of the faction. Oh, first we're going to be in a tomb, and then we're going to see evidence that the bad guys are getting ripped to pieces by something. Oh, what has done that? Oh, now we're going to forget about it for a little while. There they are. Whoa. And I mean, they did a little bit of a nice thing in this game where they essentially weren't even that supernatural. They were just a tribe, right? But, like, the feeling you get in the final boss fight, the reason you mentioned the end of the game makes me think of this, is because the feeling you get in the final boss fight of the original, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Not Rise of the Tomb Raider. What was it called? Just Tomb Raider 2013, right? The feeling you got of that witch fight and... Oh, the equipping the double pistols and stuff as well was awesome. The feeling you got there does not work on any level in the third game, even though they go for the exact same thing. They literally do a carbon copy of it, basically. And it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't mean anything. It's just such a disappointment. And, like, the fact that they don't understand that. How much sight can you lose? It's like narratively for the second and third games, they had literally no idea what they wanted to say or do or go or like, and it ends up being this weird character piece about Lara, and that's the problem. Like, so much of the rest of it is murky that it becomes this thing about Lara, and like, they try and like have their cake and eat it too quite often, right? What they do is they realize that they've got a protagonist that is cold-blooded murdering. Even if we, you know, we suspend our disbelief and we suggest that all the goons you kill in the gameplay aren't actually story deaths, right? Which is something you have to do in a lot of games, right? You know, in the original generation for Tomb Raider, did Lara really kill 320 crocodiles while she was in Greece? Probably not, right? Even if the gameplay has, you suspend your disbelief, you park it for a second, right? So in this most recent generation, we can do that too, right? Even if you park it, and she would have killed thousands of people if you don't, right? She's still a murderer of at least like 20 to 30 significant story deaths. Men that have tried to touch her up, men that have tried to attack her friends, men that have, you know, imprisoned her, supernatural people that have been possessed. There's all number of different people that she has genuinely killed. Maybe we just count people that have died in cutscenes, right? She's got a lot of blood on her hands, right? And so what the devs do is they try and eat their cake and they try and have their cake and eat it too. They try and like hand wave all of that, like, oh, it's okay, it was always the right thing to do to murder these people. But at the same time, they try and like throw in these little conversations to talk about it directly, as though that like lampshades it somehow, as though that like absolves them of this disgusting hypocrisy in their protagonist. What they'll do is they'll have like a little moment each game where Lara's like, or like the antagonist is like, oh, what about you, Lara? You've killed all these people. And she says, and the conversations are so weak. I can't even remember how she defends herself in any of them. She never comes out like seeming reasonable, and it gets to a really, really farcical degree in this most recent game where it just makes no sense. They make Trinity is even kind of likable in this game, and what they're doing, and they're trying to make Trinity likable because they want it to be like, oh look, it's a shade of grey, right? Oh, but it doesn't pay off for them because they don't do it well enough. So it just, this is what I mean. The whole, it's all way too muddy, and they're trying to eat their cake and have it too, and they don't get either in the end. It's like, what is the statement you're trying to make, really, about who she is and what she's doing, you know? And that's one thing Uncharted can get away with and does very good, because Uncharted is quite lighthearted about a lot of those situations. And when it does try and address them head on, and it does sometimes, they really pay it due diligence. You know, I've not seen Crystal Dynamics and Code do stories anywhere near as well. So anyway, stop it, guys. All right, I'm scrolling. I just watched your FFX LP, but I just heard the Cloister music in a World of Warcraft lore video, and now I'm itching for the LP again. Dude, I love the Cloister of Charles music. The one that always gets to me is Macalania Temple after you kill Seymour. Well, you don't kill Seymour, do you? But after the first Seymour fight, because I got super stuck there when I was a kid, or my first time through the game. I'm sure I tell this anecdote in the LP. And that music was just playing and playing and playing. And that music is so, like, out of place for the adrenaline and intensity of the rest of that, like, beat of the game. It's kind of bad, to be honest. But, yeah, that's a good one. Those types of games are just not your kind of game. They feel like a corporate product. We've seen it before. Hyperlight Drifter and Dark Souls are more my bag. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting comparison to make there, Jules, because you are really talking about very, very, very different things, right? Like, I appreciate everything you just said there, but for different reasons. I mean, I can only to a certain extent with Dark Souls, because I've not really ever embraced it deeply. But, you know, I'm sure it's a kind of thing where you can like it all. Yeah, the MMO. That's cool. It's nice to hear that Perfect World's still doing things. Ban WP for making hacks. Oh my god, this scrolling isn't very good. How young she is nonsense. You expect me to believe this woman who probably has a doctorate is 24. I was 27 when I finally established in my career. Well, you're just a bit slow, Jules. Listen, plausibility discussions really aren't even interesting to me. I don't really care about that stuff. She's a wonderkind, whatever. It's fine. Like, that's the... I can jive with that. If you're telling me that she's like this extraordinary person with all these talents and capabilities, and that's kind of, you know, the conceit of the experience, fine. I'll buy that at the door. You kind of have to do right there when you see her first on the endurance. I can move myself past that, but it's how you then treat the property after that throws me. Random one, but Lucozade have been doing a Shadow of the Tomb Raider promo. What? Have they really? Yes, and I have mentioned the old Lucozade advert. Dude, I remember that was like my favorite advert as a kid. My favorite advert. Because it was, the video games appeared on it. It was like Lucozade had a Tomb Raider thing going on. Man, I should YouTube that. You know, here's a flash from the past as well for anyone of my age. You used to get... your teacher would like have you watch TV for a lesson. It would happen very rarely, but you'd always be very excited because watching TV is way cooler than anything else, obviously, right? But what used to happen for me very often when I was in like secondary school and stuff is the teacher would have whatever it was they wanted you to watch, like a documentary or something. And I never appreciated or realized this at the time, but looking back, it's quite obvious. What the teacher had clearly done is taped on VHS a show from home, and then what we'd do is we'd watch it in class. But what that meant was they taped the adverts as well. But what would happen is they would tape this documentary or something with the adverts, and then they'd fast forward through them in class. But they would do that like 3 or 4 years before you, as a little kid, then come up into the school, or maybe, you know, a year or two before. So you would watch the documentary and then the adverts would come on, and it would always show really old adverts that you as a kid hadn't seen for a while, And that always used to be really exciting to me. Has anyone else had that experience? Because you'd be like, oh, yeah, I remember that advert. Oh, yeah, that's not on anymore. And then, and that was a very frequent thing all the time. Like, whenever you'd watch something, like a documentary at school. And that was very, very much a thing. It's this sort of disappeared very suddenly while I was going through secondary schools. No, wait, what was I talking about? I was basically talking about going to juniors there. That I was talking about there. Like at infants and juniors, that would happen a lot. But then, and then it would kind of disappear. But I always remember that I used to get really excited about adverts at school when it was showing you something you hadn't seen for ages. And then also, yeah, the Lucozade advert with Tomb Raider, baby. Yeah, there you go. I've given you a really weird anecdote there, just in the pure hope that it's such a fringe and niche thing to talk about that someone can relate, and that one person will be happy right now. So yeah. She looks 15, not even attractive. She doesn't look 15, man. Come on. She does look young, but not 15. But yeah, you're probably... It could just be you're getting to that age where... very young women don't look hot anymore. I think that tends to happen to a lot of men when they have a daughter as well, right? It just completely turns you off of a certain age bracket. Bitch, please. I'm turning 24 this year, and I haven't even finished my BCS. Halfway through. You can do it, Elemus. Especially watching these streams. And doing your work. She doesn't get her dual pistols in the end. Yeah, I know. I mean, that was depressing as well. I mean, for all the ways that they tried to nod back to the hardcore fans, that wasn't really... something they did in the end, outside of the first game. Maybe they just felt, been there, done that. And I mean, I won't criticize them with that, because obviously the discussion with that is, does dual-wielding pistol gunplay and upgrades and stuff, does that feel good? And the answer must be no, and they didn't do it. And I'll buy their expertise on that, because the gunplay and stuff is awesome. In Shadow, I'm telling you now, it's really good. It's really meaty, really weighty. It's good, but you get the upgrades way too quick, and there's not enough fighting to do. There's like nothing. There's like... I mean, this isn't... There's about a 20th of the content in the game than there should be. There's, like, huge rooms and, like, open areas filled with cover and stealth spots and stuff that you're like, oh, there's going to be a big fight here. There's going to be a big boss fight. And then there's nothing but a cutscene and you move on, right? And it's that sandwiched between enormous amounts of collecting and, like, listening to voice acting. There's just way too much of it. The other thing as well on this game... On the other ones, if you found like an ancient note from a cavalier or something, or you know, so someone in that region of the world, like you get to read the logs of a lot of conquistadors and British explorers from hundreds of years ago in this region of the world, right, and some of their voyages and expeditions, and you get to find like journals and logs and entries of what happened to them as they catch disease and start dying. Now, in the second game, if Lara picks up a note and she's reading about this guy getting an infection and becoming a bit delirious and stuff, the voice that plays reading it out is the guy's voice. You actually get the voice act in there. You get that talent, and it's good. It keeps it fresh. In this game, it's all her. What's her name? Camilla Luddington, I think, right? She's Lara at the moment. And listen, I think she's really talented, and I think she's done an awesome job, and I think all the mocap work and seeing the behind the scenes and stuff, I don't know how big of a fan you guys are and how much you've seen the stuff, but she's very, very, very cool, right? And I think she fits the bill very well. However, her direction in terms of all those little pieces of script is terrible. She reads extremely slowly and extremely breathily all the time. Now, that, like, gravitas, that, like, emotion there, that whatever that she's hooking into it, works, but only if it's well-paced and stuff. And it doesn't work if the game is so devoid of content, you're listening to, like, 5 of these things in a row. In a row! And you walk like 2 inches, press survival instincts, you find a pickup, and you press F, and now you're listening to it super slowly again. I mean, it's so boring, guys. And I really care about the universe. I really care about immersing myself in the story and getting all that detail and content out. I got to the point with Shadow of the Tomb Raider where I wasn't even looking for all the collectibles by the end, because it was just such a drag. The game is just... Here is the best way I can describe it. And this is what the tweet was basically going to be. It was everything the game should be, except the game itself, right? It's like all the reward structures and all the flavor and the padding and the fluff on top. All of that is couched on top of like no content, right? The fundamentals in the engine and the controls and all that stuff is there. The design behind the upgrades and the experience and the acquisition stuff is there. The body of like lore and setting building and stuff is there, but the game itself is not there. It's like they just, it's like I don't know. The only thing I can imagine is that feedback on the previous game was that there was too much fighting or something. So they just cut it all out at the last moment, like panicking. Like, have some fucking confidence in your own product, man. Like, I don't get it. Maybe it's just where video games are going, because you might recognize, and a lot of what I'm saying here kind of parallels a lot of what I say with Guild Wars a lot of the time. Like, Guild Wars constantly cripples its own potential because it's scared to have you interact with it too much, right? So it just throws the reward at you really quickly, and it just... And I don't know whether that's just what games are now. I don't know whether that's just where... what consumers want. And, you know, if you can't play it on a mobile, you'd best be able to play it fucking quick, mate. Otherwise, I'm uninstalling and giving you a bad Steam review. I don't know. I don't know. I'm no expert. All I know is that it is not the game it could have been. And it's very disappointing. Why don't they make games for no-lifes anymore? Come on, man. We're out there. I've got a couple of them out there. Where's like a game for no life? Maybe I should go play World of Warcraft. Can you enjoy this game's PvP without being in a guild? You can, yes, absolutely. You can enjoy this game's PvP while appearing offline all the time and never looking at chat, which is what I do. With very few exceptions very recently. I did maybe 8 or 9 queues on Valen's stream yesterday, which was fun. We were duoing on... he was on Core Guard and I was on Fresh Air. I was on this character, actually. Which was nice. I really want a duo like that has a lot of pre-might. That's the real thing. I don't think I've particularly convinced him how good I think that is, but it's such a low might uptime build, and it's effective without it. So if you can dunk 25 on there, it's kind of crazy. CDPR with Witcher 3 is a great example. No, look, you're not allowed to compliment CDPR, okay, or The Witcher, because that is gaming circle jerking, all right? And that is therefore not an intelligent opinion, all right? Logical fallacy 101. If your opinion is popular, it's wrong, okay? Trust me. Trust me. I've been doing this for a while. You must always be the devil's advocate. Popularity equals having a lack of taste, ill-refined opinions. Okay, so like Game of Thrones was really cool in seasons 1, 2, and 3. Ever since, it's been trash. It's low-tier television. You shouldn't be into it anymore, okay? As soon as you hear that one guy from school who, you know, doesn't really play games, as soon as you hear he likes the game, you're not allowed to like it anymore, okay? That's why I'm into Guild Wars, because this is like fringe, all right, and obscure, okay? That is the way to be, you know, to have your finger on the pulse. WP, that radial mount option for your mount, is that an in-game option? I feel like a noob for asking. No, it's not an in-game option. This is a add-on. Which, if you type in mount wheel add-on on YouTube and the word Wood and Potatoes, you'll see an excellent guide from this cool British guy. Oh, no, it's happening. There's too much chat. WP, I'm looking for a profession that has strong SPVP and raid builds. Which profession would you recommend? Interesting question. Because if you're intending to PvP, the game will throw these at you. They're called Tomes of Knowledge, and each is a level. So I have like almost 400 levels here that I've earned in the space of about a month, maybe something like that. So you don't need to worry. PvP asks for no gear or anything, so you can PvP on literally any class you like. Just make a character and go to Heart of the Mist. You're done, and that will give you free level ups that you can use on your raiding build. So what I would actually recommend is you get a Necro and PvP and learn to PvP on the Necro, Reaper, and Scourge builds, and once you and that will give you levels for any raiding character you like at all. Could be another Necro if you want, or it could be something more viable. I'm scrolling. Time's lament, dude. It's great to see you. A T2 sub, 34 months in a row, man, as well. It's really great to see you. You're struggling with your masters, says Walsa Markari. If you could have been a career student, you would have. You don't embrace Dark Souls, you bend over for it. I just want to give you my heartfelt thanks for the marker packs, says Zach. Just being aware of the kite spots and naturally playing around them has greatly increased my PvP performance. Dude, I'm really happy with that. Are you serious? I've heard a lot of people say thank you. I've not heard anyone tangibly actually say, hey, I'm using it and using it has helped me because now I see the locations. You're the first person that's done that. So that's very, very, very cool. And to hear in those very explicit terms that literally the pack itself for what it is has helped. That's awesome. Did you watch the companion videos too, or did you just kind of guess at what each spot means? Origin series of a Jules. What is all this? You still wish Betamax had won over VHS? So much better video quality? I'm not old enough to really know about any of that, to be honest. I think when I studied film, we did talk about it, but I don't really remember the specifics. All I remember is that quite well trotted around fact that I suspect is an urban legend that the pornography industry was really the swinger of it. And then, because when I was studying film, it was right around when Blu-ray versus HD was going on. And people were drawing the comparisons there quite often. All this talk of Lara, and now my front page of Reddit has 3 Lara-related posts. Does it really? What, just by coincidence? Or that you've opened? The teacher would roll in a small CRT on a cart, and then would put a videotape into a VCR with its label written in Sharpie. Yeah, man. The other one, this is a more common one, is overhead projectors, and you get to be the one at assembly who puts like the paper, the translucent paper, over the like hymn or whatever. Do you know what really gets me angry? Like really gets me angry. We had to sing like prayers and stuff for quite a long period of my life, and I always look back at that like, well, I guess we're getting a bit. Some of the topics here probably we want to skirt around a little bit, but yeah, they always used to put that on the overhead projector, and then you'd like layer the like notes on top, right? Who has WP makes us feel old on this week's bingo card? We're not old, man. We're not old. Looking good. Listen, here's the thing: if they're still making action hero protagonists of your age, it's all gravy. We had a pretty fun religion teacher in upper secondary school. We watched The Name of the Rose film in class, but we had a recorded soccer match over the sex scene while leaving the graphic violence scenes intact. And he later said if we wanted to see the unedited version, the movie would be shown on a TV channel the following weekend. I don't ever really remember, when I was very young, I don't really remember any sex scenes. The only thing that stands out to me is, what was that Romeo and Juliet? Who was it? Was it Leo DiCaprio in it? Was it? I can't remember. There's a Romeo and Juliet, though. And I remember... I was like 13 when I first watched this, right? It's like a little girl that's starring in that. But she looked like an adult to me when I watched it. And I remember being so attracted to her. And then like years later when I was like 20 or something, I was like, oh yeah, what was that movie with the really hot Juliet? And I looked it up. I was like, oh my God, no, what? These people are like kids. But that's the idea of like... the play, right? They basically are very, very young. But was there a sex scene in that maybe or something? I don't know. Apparently the BBC Learning Zone was cut in 2015. I remember watching those at school. I don't remember that. I've never heard of that. Maybe I missed that. Can someone just do my thesis on early access games for me? Oh, okay. So you're doing a thesis on early access. There's probably a lot of exciting stuff to talk about in gaming with stuff like that at the moment. I read a thing as well that basically, and I was quite, well, never mind. This is too boring. This whole thing. I was going to talk about linguists and internet stuff, but let's not. You're a creative mind. You're participating in Inktober. What? Since when did Nightbot start talking about this? The Spud Club is currently hosting a giveaway for Inktober participants. More information here. Oh, I didn't even notice. Oh, okay. Well, there you go, guys. Head to Discord. I guess they were watching WP's whiskey stream and decided to drink alongside WP while watching a recording of WP's from Friday on Wednesday evening. What on earth? When will Daybreak start? In a moment, I'm sure. I was gonna make food when I went to the intro, but now I'm starving. Yeah, I'm scrolling through here quickly. I guess there are only 2 types of uni people. You don't drink, so WP is my only drug, and coffee. All things in moderation. Make a rant video about it. Easy YouTube money. A rant about what? Tomb Raider stuff? I don't think so. Try Red Dead Redemption 2. That game has a very relaxed pace, if that's what you want. Yeah, it's also an enormous game, so I'm not 100% into that right now. Literally, the next game that's not Guild Wars I think I'll be playing will probably be the remastered Spyro trilogy, which is of a completely different caliber, but I don't even care. I didn't even play Insomniac Spider-Man. How have you been consistently committed to Guild Wars 2 for all this time and not burnt out? I think the Guild Wars 2 is a really rewarding game. Once you need to get to a certain bar of understanding it. And once you do, I think it's a very, very rewarding game. I've always been someone, though, that is not particularly motivated by, like, the reward side of MMOs. So I don't really... how would I put this? It doesn't matter to me if there's not a gear grind, treadmill, and all that other stuff. Hey, thanks for the 18 viewer host, Capri N-Pals. Thanks very much. My go-to always with Guild Wars is if you get bored of PvE stuff, try a different facet of PvE altogether. And if you get bored of that, have a look at PvP or World versus World and flip through them. You know, that's basically what I've always done. And just get a bit obsessed on one side and the other, because there's so many different experiences that this game offers, like a huge amount of different experiences. It's easy to not get burnt out. Very, very, very easy. Does anyone know any good back workouts? Not that I could describe on stream easily. I don't really have the language for that. You know what they call games for no lives? Life services. They're your Assassin's Creeds, they're your FIFAs, they're your Destiny 2s and Fortnites and shit. You think no lives play those games? Oh, live services. I don't know, man. Assassin's Creed, FIFAs, Destiny, Fortnite? That's not no life games. That's like... Those are people who are fans of those games are... The people with no taste. I mean, I'm not really sure. Not being too insulting, but if that's all that they care about, you know, those are people who don't really follow games deeply at all. I'm not saying people are wrong for playing those games or bad or whatever, but I'm not saying. What I'm saying is people who are into that kind of stuff are just kind of following the crowd. They're not really thinking for themselves. They don't really. I would say they're very shallow enthusiasts. Let me put it that way, right? They're not tastemakers in any way. Yeah, so everybody's getting to my hipster advice there. I'm going to have to scroll on. Guild Wars 2 is the geek haven of MMOs. All the other MMOs are relatively normie. No, I think that the geek haven is probably like... There's some like still actively developed mud out there right now. And there's like a collection of like maybe 300 to 400 people who like play it religiously. That's probably the ultimate MMO that we should all be playing. Time is too mainstream. Set it back an hour. We did set it back. Good to see you, Times Meant. WP, have you thought of covering Fallout 76 since it's coming out soon? Absolutely not. Got no interest in it right now at all. Scrolling down. Oh my god, it's an AMA. This is officially an AMA. It's not. I'm leaving in a second. Did year 6s in primary school get to sit on the bench? I don't know what you're talking about with that now. We even had a teacher at uni that used a UHP. Oh my god, how far back are we here? We didn't have to do the projector thing in primary school, but one pupil in the top primary would need to read from the Bible. I'm 21, but I can't help feel old because I'm losing all of my hair. Well, you could do a course of Rogaine right there. Or go... What's that? What country is it? Oh my god, I just went to the world map because I was actually going to look like here for the country. What country is it? Is it like... It's not Greece. It's something in like that area of the world though, right? Oh, I think it's Turkey, isn't it? You can get like extremely cheap hair loss surgery, right? Like, and you give them a flat amount of money. They fly you out. They put you in a hotel. They do your hair and they fly you back, all at once. It's like famous for it. It's literally like the capital of hair loss surgery in the world. Oh my god, there is that scene in the Romeo and Juliet movie where there is a nude scene where you get to see some prime breasts Our teacher tried to fast forward past it, but accidentally paused for seconds right on the scene she was trying to skip. There you go. I thought there was something in my mind that was like, is there nudity in that? I feel weird saying it now because I don't actually know how old those actors and actresses are. I mean, it's an above the board movie, obviously, and it's Romeo and Juliet. But it's like a raunchy scene in it, isn't there? I can't remember anymore. But yeah, man, that's kind of funny that they would pause it directly on it. WP now noticing Subtober is a thing. Subtober? Isn't it called Subtember? And wasn't it last month? It's just a cynical grab at people's money to invest more into Twitch and the people that are on it. I wonder if, as a film student, WP has had the opportunity to watch The Story of Film and Odyssey by Mark Cousins. Amazing to look back on film history, exploring some blockbusters and independent films from the past century. Actually, no, I'm not familiar with that whatsoever. Hymns from primary. I used to be like, when a knight won his spurs and all things bright and beautiful. Yeah, there are people excited about Spyro. Okay, there was the host. I want hard games with deep mechanics. I want to play fucking Spyro next. Yeah, listen, look, no, listen. I can enjoy Cookie Clicker and the Spyro remastered trilogy, and I can enjoy my Might and Magic 6 and my Grimrock and my whatever else, right? I don't even know what I play that even constitutes as an interesting, deep and layered game anymore at this point. But my Stellaris, I'll actually give it that. Stellaris kind of gets debased in a lot of ways, but Stellaris can be okay. You know, I can do that. God forbid someone likes a game. You're going to hop on Cyberpunk 2077? It comes out and explode your channel and abandon Guild Wars? No, that's my plan for New World, right, guys? No, probably not. I don't like feeling like an outsider, like I'm late to the party or whatever, and I certainly would with any kind of CD Projekt stuff. Why are you gatekeeping video games? Guild Wars 2 is about as panda as it gets. I like it, yeah, the gatekeeping is real this stream. It's pretty hard. When is next LP? Well, at the end of today's stream, I'm actually planning on doing the Straits of Devastation, the next part of the LP, straight away. Those are the only people that are No Life, though. No Life's moved on. They're parents and they're responsible adults now. I think you just have a skewed perspective because you're a full-time YouTuber and streamer. You play video games for a living. Who has time for that? No, I would call myself the No Life. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that when the criticisms I have of Shadow of the Tomb Raider may be just completely off because... No, I'm not saying that, and I explicitly said that. Listen, it's not that I'm out of touch with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It is missing the game. It really is. Play it. I'm telling you now, I'm missing. Of course, I second-guess myself, right? I live in perpetual doubt of myself. Maybe that's a mistake. I'm never 100% sure, but I think that I think I really do have a point with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I don't think it's that, because what you gotta understand. Let me put it this way. When I played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I didn't destroy all my free time and play it hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I sat down at the end of the day after I was done with other stuff, right? So I had my day, I had my regular things where I think about Guild Wars, I play Guild Wars, I make Guild Wars videos, I do this, I do that with YouTube, you know, and other projects, right? Once I'm done with that, then I come and I look to sit down and play Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And I play it for like 2 to 5 hours a night. That was what I did. I beat the game in 15 hours. I have 15 hours logged in that game, all right? It's not like I no-lifed it and went crazy with it and invested too much in it. You know, and now I've lost all perspective of my first playthrough because I'm on my 200th hour and I realize all these little niggling doubts and things. I'm telling you, the impressions and things I've come to are pretty, you know, the investment of my time to develop those opinions and thoughts and feelings are not wonky compared to any other person, I don't think. So yeah. And I just went onto Steam to look at my hours on the game there. To know how long it took to beat it. Any thoughts on remaking the Guild Wars 1 LP? I will never do that, no. I cannot think of anything less rewarding and depressing. There's a lot... it would be very, very depressing. Let me just say, it's a project that I did and I finished and I am happy with. And why you would ask me as an adult to keep going in circles for absolutely no reason on the same thing. If you want to see another Guild Wars LP, you're gonna have to find it from someone else, because I put my heart and soul into that originally, and there are obviously I could do it to a way better standard now, but I don't see the point. I will push to do a stream of one of those because the format is very different, but I'm not gonna just no, it's never gonna happen. Have I tried out as ESO? Actually, not seriously. No, never. Spyro is super hardcore. Spyro can actually be kind of difficult with some of the things. But it's not really hardcore, no. I was away the other week. I watched your whole AMA stream. Was majorly laughing at each time you checked the uptime. Yeah, we're 1 hour and 10 here. Can I link the mount wheel, please? Do you see how when you typed that comment there, you typed mount wheel? Yeah. Why don't you try putting that into Google and see what comes up, man? I mean, you might not even have to put the word Guild Wars there. Let's see, okay? I'm just going to type mount wheel into Google. All right, that doesn't work. Ignore that. But type mount wheel and then Guild Wars, all right? Don't even need to put Guild Wars 2. What is the top link? It's my video, baby. So, yeah, go for that. What else we got? For the future streams, you should start in the labyrinth. Therefore, if chat distracts you, you get bags. Yeah, that's true. I don't really care about getting bags, but that's the thing. I don't think that either, WP. I was just reacting to you saying that they don't make games for no-lifers anymore. Oh, I see. I see. No, but yeah, I agree with you. WP would never leave the game if he played Witcher deeply or something like that. Cyberpunk would be awesome. What do you mean I would never leave the game? I mean, listen, if another game captured my enthusiasms and passions and attentions and people watched me on YouTube for it, I would cover it, you know. It's I don't play Guild Wars out of some arbitrary sense of duty to Guild Wars or something. I play it because, practically speaking, this is what people are interested in my opinions about, first of all. And you know, I'd have to juggle jobs if I wanted to do something else. And then also, this is what I'm genuinely interested in. But if another game had the depth and the intrigue and interest, then I would go with the other game. ArenaNet's very good at just continuously putting new things into this one, though, you know. I would say Guild Wars 2 is more of a no-life game than something like Dark Souls, but Dark Souls is more meaningful in a single gameplay session. That's probably true, Jules, and that's why one of them flashpoints to a more mainstream recognition. Dark Souls is kind of this thing where, because of its gameplay format, it can purport to be fringe, but really it's just the experience you have with it that can feel, you know, quite distinct and different, and feel like it's more on the edge than other games. But the truth is, in terms of popularity and recognition and all those things and how it's placed within gaming now, it's pretty ubiquitous, right? It's pretty well known. I would actually say it's a bigger name than the Guild Wars franchise. Wouldn't you guys? Would someone argue that Guild Wars is a bigger name than the Dark Souls name? I certainly wouldn't. The no-life demographic change. People with video game taste, as you put it, don't have time for binging games anymore, I think. No, I think you're wrong with that, actually. I think that those people just lose touch as being the tastemakers and the good reviewers and the people of note, you know, with the good podcasts and stuff. Those people stop having such worthwhile opinions, and slowly their audiences will shift and recognize that. Or they'll kind of tribally stick to them for no logical reason. But eventually the market would speak, I think, and they would lose whatever cachet it is that they have. Maybe we're talking at cross purposes here. It's a quote from Game of Thrones to describe someone as naive. I said it because WP has been 10 minutes behind on chat before. Wait, what term is this from Game of Thrones, you said? How far away is that as well? I can't see, man. I'm almost caught up. Emotional courtesan. Was that the term? I'm sad that ArenaNet changed personalized trick and treat bags into regular trick and treat bags just as I finally mastered the clock tower puzzle. What was the thing? The personal ones were slightly more rewarding, right? But can be traded? Was that the thing? With Cyberpunk 2077, everyone is starting at ground zero. It's a new IP, so don't be... Yeah, I know. We've had this conversation on stream before. We have had it on before. But, I don't believe it is truly Ground Zero. There's a lot of pre-release stuff that I've missed out on. I have no understanding of it. I mean, I've seen their like 40-minute gameplay demo or whatever it was, and that's it. I think, right? That's all I really know about it and remember about it. But there was a way onto the roofs from up here as well. I remember way back when I thought this was the start of the jumping puzzle here. But then there's also like expectations of how that company makes things. And the lessons they've learned from their earlier projects and stuff. Anyway. Hey, Nike. I think YouTube and Twitch has pushed people who are big content creators into variety gaming, which prevents them from no-lifing even if they wanted to. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing, right? Like, the easiest way to be in that space is to be a variety gamer, because you can sort of zerg around with the tastes of everyone else. I think he's doing it on purpose now. What am I doing on purpose? Anyone think Guild Wars 2 would gain popularity if it went on Steam? I have no idea how to answer that. But personally, I don't know. I don't know what the market's like. I don't know what that's done for other games, other MMOs. I got no idea. It would just depend how much Steam pushes it on their platform, wouldn't it? Therefore, they'll lose buying power. Those games for no lives, you imagine, can't be AAA anymore. They're niche indie games, right? That's the thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Yeah, and actually, that's one thing I'm very, very, very aware of. Hey, says Flying Chicken BLC. Okay, we caught up. Okay, so what's going to happen now, guys, is I'm going to very, very, very quickly just say, hey, the stream is starting. It's a bit silly, but I just want to... When I sat down to do this, I wanted to get some water, and I wanted to type something out to someone as well. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come back. So the intro is going to say stream is starting soon in a second, but it's literally just an excuse for me to have a quick break so I can actually get comfortable. All right. Then I guess we'll do a tiny bit of Daybreak, and then we're going to go to the straight to Devastation. We will do some of the LP here today. Not the LP. You go what I mean, right? So anyway, I'll see you all in a second. Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. Alright, okay. I literally just went to get a can of Fanta Zero, and now I'm done. Okay. Let's go to the gameplay. And what I want to do... Who are we playing on? Haven't really logged in on all these characters since... So I was playing this in PvP yesterday. Why was I on my Tempest? Oh, I PvP'd on that yesterday. I set up a build on this earlier today. Or was looking at a build on this. I played that in PvP yesterday. Why have I been on DH? We're not doing... When was I on my Soul Beast? No, Soul Beast is who we... No. And then Rev. I can't remember why I went on my Soul Beast. Since we were on the Rev. But anyway, back to the Rev. What's all this? The thing is, he reads comments, then people start responding to stuff from 20 minutes ago. I don't know what you want from me, to be honest. People whine if I don't look at chat. People whine if I miss their comment, but I'm otherwise looking at chat. People don't just whine in that situation. They think I've like got it out for them and I'm deliberately ignoring them, right? So people don't like that. And then people whine if all I'm doing is responding to chat and I'm not playing the game for them. Like, I don't know how other streamers do it, but I'm just trying to make sure everyone has a good time. So I'm responding slowly through chat. But it's kind of lose as far as Twitch audience is concerned. So, yeah, we'll see. I just want you to have fun, WP. Oh, well, I'm not. Because I'm playing this stinking Rev that Twitch chat voted on. I don't even like Rev. I wanted to delete this a few days ago. Look at this stupid Fashion Wars. Do you know what? Do you know what this Fashion Wars is? This is default Revenant stuff with the Herald shoulder piece. Why? Because I think he's stupid. And this is the scribing scroll, right? Not even top tier, okay? Because I hate him. And it's the stupid Renegade, which is the worst elite specialization. You all know it. Some of you think you can make arguments otherwise just because, oh, I put a lot of alacrity out in raids. Screw you. It's a terrible elite specialization. And yet here we are. Look at that visual noise. Disgusting. All right? I think you should apologize to me or I'm turning this stream off. The beard is magnificent. I think so too, actually. Yeah, look at that. So well groomed. Okay, so yesterday, what did we have? Soon after Balthazar's defeat at the Kodash Bazaar, Ritlock, Brimstone, Canuck, and Timey procured a Doliac ranch outside the free city of Amnoon where they could make necessary repairs to Timey's golem before resuming our search for Aurene. So hold on, procured?
Procure.
Obtain, especially with care or effort. That's what I thought it meant. How does that work? We obtained the Doliac Ranch? Do we own that Doliac Ranch now? Sorry, wait, what did they say that in the story? That we bought that? Do we own that? Do we own those farmers now as well? Is that what's going on there? I really have no idea. Anyway, so we procured a Doliac Ranch. I didn't realize I was a Doliac Rancher now. Timey contacted me with a progress report. Cavalier Captain Rahim generously allowed Timey, Canuck, and Ritlock to have use of the Doliac Ranch as a base camp for a while from which to search for Aurene. Well, look, we got the Sun's Refuge now, so we don't need this anymore. Oh, we might have rented it. Do you think it was a rental? Okay, that makes sense. Track Krakatorix activities and figure out what to do next. The location provides easy access to Amnoon's bustling marketplace while allowing us to keep a low profile. This is weird. The way that this is written, it's like there's a story step they were anticipating us doing now where we were going to wander around a lot, you know, and dipping in and out of the ranch over and over again. But instead, we're just immediately leaving. We got the boat, and we're going to speak with Dockmaster Jonick at the Amnoon Harbour to procure passage to Istan. So, we are sailing to... I will do this once again. We are sailing to Istan from here. So, we are going along here. We're going out into the Bay of Ellen. We're coming through here. We're coming up here. We're going beneath the Bazaar of the Four Winds. We're sailing through the Sea of Elon, by the way, which I don't have unfogged. We're going under one of these bridges. It's your choice, which... You might think I'm being a bit silly, but this is literally the only route, all right? Especially with Siren's Landing being blocked off down here. So we're going to go through here, past Fort Trinity. We're going to go all the way around here, past the Malkor's Fingers, down on this side. Going to sail through the Desmina's Straits, just for the funsies of it. And we're going to come all the way down around here, past Aural Story Mode, south of the Scavenger's Causeway, along Dashka over here. Actually, I don't think we're very close to Dashka yet. Here we go. The Sandswept Isles, of course, we don't know that yet. We're going to be interested in the mysterious floating cube nearby, but we're going to ignore that. We're going to come all the way down. We're going to come all the way around and to the Chalon Docks. Now, that is one hell of a voyage, guys. One hell of a voyage. And I wish the devs talked a bit more about what that actually meant for what we were doing. But there you have it. Here's how it will be demonstrated in game.
On your way, Outlander. Only ship's crew allowed on my docks.
I need passage to Wiston.
Everybody needs something. Hold on. I know that face. Palawa Joko's put a price on your head, friend.
That's so. Last I saw Joko, he wasn't in a position to make threats.
Either way, I don't take his coin. This rig's headed for Istan. I can stow you aboard if you'd like. Ain't exactly the royal stateroom, but it'll get you there. If you can keep your high-priced head out of sight.
All right, and so we'll take the boat to Istan. I'm a bit busy right now, he says. So hold on, is this boat phased? I mean, it has collision, right? So if I came on a different character, would the boat not be here anymore? What would I see this Rev? Just see him floating in the sky? Those sea turtles swimming in formation is the coolest shit I've ever seen. Little Big Adventure does something like that. You could jump on them. That's actually awesome. Yeah, I don't know. WP, the reason you find this odd is because it was actually cut content that you would ride on a cruise ship that takes 3 hours of real time to get here. Hell yeah, I'm up for that. Think about the social interactions you would have being forced to sit idle on a ship with some random players in the MMO. Think about it, okay? It's genius. When they add a fishing feature, they should definitely do that. Just delete all waypoints. Alright, I'm joking. We do get a cutscene, which is nice, and something they learned from the Season 3 stuff with the submarine movement. And we get Aurene flying with us too. I mean, look at this little dinghy as well. For such a long voyage. I don't need to think about it. I've experienced it in other MMOs. Exactly. It's the coolest thing. The coolest. Alright. And so we get to Istan. Now, right now, it looks like the Great Hall part of the meta is going on. It's really dark and kind of spooky and grimy here. But yeah, so the dinghy arrives. And, man, this feels so recent to me as well. It's really weird to have seeing the bounty board and stuff.
Corsairs are smelling gold again.
The Awakened are smelling blood. Great.
So, hold on. We don't get any dialogue when we're here? There's no one even to press F and speak to? I mean, we got this vendor person. I never bought any of this stuff. I probably can start going heavy with it now as well, because the Krautkatite I don't need so much now that I've got most of the Krautkatite I would ever care about. This is where you get mini adolescent Aurene. I actually really like the branded Wyvern. That's cool. I wonder if that has cool animations where it flies around in little circles and stuff like some of the other Wyverns. Got Tleko here as well. That guy also looks like one of the most chariest char I've ever seen. So what? We just go straight to the Astralarium, do we? I didn't even realise that. Okay, fine. I feel like I'm missing out on a little bit of lore, but oh well. Could I please turn up the in-game dialogue? I thought it was pretty loud, honestly. Oh no, it's very quiet. There you go. There you go. Sorry. The in-game bar was very low. You guys should be able to hear it. You know, it should be fighting against my voice right now. That means the entire stream has been almost silent as well, which isn't very good. But oh. Yeah, boy Jonic knows his way, baby. You're sailing on his sea. They told you it's a 3-hour cruise ride to get to Istan. Well, your boy Jonic can get you there in a 13-second loading screen easy. Jonic, you sound like the kind of man I need to know. How can you trigger loading screens for me, IRL? Like if I want to go to Egypt right now, right? If I want to sail right on down to the Red Sea, okay? The raptor was really freaking out there. Can you arrange to give me a loading screen? What's my favorite new map?
Be the Astralarium.
Yeah, I don't know what's with the music. It was something.
Now to find the head archivist.
My favorite new map is probably the Jahai Bluffs. I don't think that's too controversial either. I don't think it's just because it's a new map. I think Jahai Bluffs are awesome. This map's pretty goddamn good as well though. And you're about to see why. The Astralarium's amazing. This is a cool area. Regarding Gen 2 legendaries, can you use either Heart of Thorns or Path of Fire to get them? Yes, they are. It's more like, you should think of it this way. There are core legendaries for free-to-play accounts and core accounts, though the number of those is diminishing. And then there's an extra set of legendaries if you own an expansion. So if you own POF or HOT, you get an X pack. That's basically it. You know, there was another thing I was actually thinking about. You know the whole Season 4 into Season 5 thing? The fact that there's not an expansion? I was thinking about that and the fact that maybe they bought themselves time to finish the legendary setup as well now. How many are left on Gen 2? I don't remember right now. Let's see. Legendary weapons. So Generation 2 is missing great swords. They confirmed there would be no underwater ones. Is it just great sword? Oh, longbow. Longbow's the other one. Yeah, they're big weapons as well. So yeah, longbow and great swords. Pretty important ones, honestly. So maybe that's actually not relevant because didn't episode 6 last year have a double legendary? Right? Didn't we get Shining Blade and we got the Colossus? What's it called? I can't remember. Anyway, the Orion one, the Arar hammer. I really kind of want that because I love ore, and that's a really rare legendary weapon. You don't see many people with that. In fact, I kind of want to check efficiency for that stat right now, actually, because that's got to be one of the rarest legendaries in the game. Let's see. Stats, unlock statistics, skins, type, weapons, legendary. No, that's not going to work. I don't know. The rarest skin in the game, actually, at the moment, is the Eye of Argon. The branded Eye of Argon. All legendaries look terrible. Yeah, I can definitely imagine if you are of those tastes, you might feel that way. But anyway, yeah. So they got 2 more. Last year they definitely did doubles, so they could have been on set because they could have done longbow next release, and then the finale could have had the final one. And if it's so, one of the considerations right now is that Gen 1 legendaries, they had the great swords, and there were 3 great swords, weren't there? Different variations, and you could build 2 of them into a final one. I'm wondering whether on Gen 2 they might do that again. But the only one left... So they could do it on great swords again, which would be kind of crazy and silly. They might. I mean, that would be kind of funny if they did that. Or they might pick a new weapon this time to do the triple. So their only choice now would be to do that on the longbow, because everything else is released already. So it would be next episode, episode 5... is the great swords, and then episode 6, the finale, assuming it is, would be a triple longbow release of whatever they go for that. But yeah, in any case, they have time. Sorry, we'll bring back Magdair. Magdair as GS is a great idea. I really like that. What's a cool longbow, do you think, at this point? Bram's longbow? We just made up with him, so if they kill him off now, maybe that's a good idea. And then we get Bram's bow, which was... that was his mum's bow, wasn't it? Are there any lore-heavy longbows or greatswords like the claw? I still don't know whether I agree with the claw of the Carner being a thing, but hey. I'm still so curious about that data mine on the world map that showed a Blood Legion homeland change. If we get Cow, oh, it'll be so good. But I suppose if that was a change, that might be more of a sign of a Season 5 thing than a Season 4. A moon longbow would have been perfect for Gandara. Well, it still could be. Don't worry. Just because they never did it in that release. Anyway, so we're at this beautiful place, the Astralarium. Guild Wars 1 players will recognize and remember this. We did a lot of pre-release speculation about it as well. It looks freaking awesome in this game. I love some of the assets in this. Look at how detailed and intricate that is. I mean, honestly. The light coming out of it, a weird angle, is not very good, but still. Have you decided which class is next for Elite Speculation? Yes, we have. And when we say we, I mean Boots has. I have not done my theory craft on it just yet. I don't think it can hurt to tell you guys. But the class is Necromancer. The next episode will be Necro.
We just pass along whatever they said without question. How many young minds have I poisoned with their propaganda? We've been teaching their fictions as history for generations. Cormyr, forgive us.
All right. Hello.
Welcome to the Astralarium. The supreme repository of knowledge in Istan. What is it you seek? You're the Tyrian hero. The God Killer. The Dragon Slayer. Kanak's crony.
You know Kanak?
Shh! There's a bounty on your head. Are you trying to get
Everything
turned
all
in?
right over there?
Praise be to beneficent Joko, who patronizes our intellectual pursuits.
I need to find the Sunspear base.
Lower your voice. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't believe you. Why so nervous?
There are those here who, from fear or greed, rewrite our histories to glorify King Joko, whereas others risk their lives to preserve the truth.
I admire your courage. I want to help, but I need to get in touch with the Sunspears.
To protect our most sacred tomes, Archivist Salwa has locked them in the restricted archive. That's also where you'll find the secret entrance to the Sunspear's base. But you can't just waltz in. Salwa is militant. She won't admit anyone until she's convinced they oppose Joko.
So I'll convince her. I'm no fan of Joko, and I don't think he's too thrilled with me either.
Words alone will never sway her. Joko's minions have been here for weeks revising the histories to lionize that fiend. If you can put a stop to it, I suspect Salwa will be more than happy to let you in.
I love that phrase. Lionize. That's a cool term. Okay, so, brilliant. We got to do the heart now. To help Archivist Salwa preserve the Astralarium's records. Is there anything you need help with, she says. Look at her eyes, man. She's a bit scary. Are you okay? I don't quite understand why I need to help Archivist Salwa. She protects the restricted archives with her life, and she won't let anyone in unless they prove to her that they aren't agents of Joko. Helping her displays an autonomy none of his servants possess. How has she not been discovered? Well, the restricted area is well hidden and looks abandoned from the outside. Salwa was forced to appease the Mordant Crescent in the past, but her efforts earned her enough trust to be left alone ever since. Okay, I have another question. Well, how can I help her? Well, Salwa can tell you in greater detail. She's over by the restricted library. Thanks. I guess I'll find her. Okay, again. Really like the way they do that. So it looks abandoned from the outside. I guess it does. I'd never really looked or appreciated that or thought about that, but... yeah, it's pretty overgrown. Not too nice there. Now, I'm doing it in this order because I really want to speak to her first just to get the dialogue. I know, obviously, I could have stayed up and rotated the mirrors. This episode's underrated? I think it probably is underrated, yeah, because it goes from strength to strength. Once we get to the Fariner instance, I really love the Fariner instance. Everything about it, the environment you travel through, it's fantastic. Hello, Salwa. I see you behind that gate. They love doing this in Path of Fire. I think it works quite well, you know, people hiding behind these gates and heart NPCs as well, because it makes me think of that one in Vabi too. Are you the new Inquisitor? No need for subterfuge. The archives were inspected only recently, and we were found to be in full compliance. I'm not with the Mordant Crescent. Rada sent me to support your work. That's good to hear. We can always use more like-minded scholars in the Astralarium. So how can I help your cause? Well, loyalists among our ranks have been scattering our records, defacing our obelisks, and sabotaging us telescopes. They want to stop dissenting scholars from challenging King Joko's orthodoxy. Scouring your records? We're blessed to have works predating modern Elona, but orthodox scholars tend to toss ancient documents aside that challenge their worldview. We need these works recovered and reshelved. Okay. Defacing your obelisks? We carve observed star patterns in stone obelisks around the Astralarium grounds, and Orthodox scholars poster over them with propaganda. Sorry, I thought that wasn't right. Poster over them with propaganda. Our astronomers would appreciate you removing these posters. This is cool. I love the way how this sounds like Jotun. That they're looking at the stars and engraving stuff into rocks nearby. Sorry, wait, I'm not done with that yet. I'm not with the Modern Crescent. How can I help you? What did you say about sabotaging your telescopes? Our astronomers use precise observations to chart stellar movement. Scholars, challenged by the accuracy of their predictions, drive them from their work and purposely misalign their telescopes. Okay, that's an easy way to get the heart done. And what else can how else can I help those dissident scholars? Well, colleagues that need help will surely ask for it. I'd advise leaving any scholars that look busy alone to just pursue their work. So I get heart progress from leaving people alone. That sounds pretty good. Nice AFK. Finally embraced it, the Lake Doric meta. Alright, so we'll see what we got. So we do have all the lore. Now, I have done streams on all of the lore and the library. Oh, no, I think I just did videos on it straight up, didn't I? So we'll do the other stuff. So there's a misaligned telescope here. So what we do is we turn it. The telescope is positioned properly to make an observation. So we're going to look through, and it says, in the skies above, you see the star named Firebreath in the Dragon's Maw constellation, located at roughly 1H plus 24. Hey, so Cossage, in chat might know this. Has the wiki got a page for stellar bodies? Because there's enough lore now from the book talking about the various constellations, with the nautical stuff in Sea of Sorrows, to all this stuff here. It might be really kind of cool to have a page that like talks about known stars. If I wiki Firebreath, what comes up? No, there is no page for it. There's a page for the star record, but that would be really cool, don't you think? As like a lore document to say these are the known stars. I don't know. Maybe that's not that interesting. Firebreath, Dragon's Maw, 1H plus 24. It rhymes, so it's easy to remember. Firebreath, Dragon's Maw, 1H plus 24. It's this bottom one. Look at that, see? So all you got to do is find the rhyme. Let's listen to these people.
No one's seen him outside this region in ages. If that's true, and we have no evidence it isn't, then King Joko was never Tyria's greatest hero.
Watch your mouth. You want to get us all arrested?
Outrageous. I'm going to go tell the Mordant Crescent. Yes, sir. This was the person who made the horrible comment. Alright, so we're probably... Here's what I'm going to do to try and speed this up just a little bit here. I'm going to come to the upper ring and do the full circuit of telescopes up there, then come down and do some of the other stuff. And then hopefully it will reset by the time later. Wait, what? What? How did I make you laugh? With what? For some reason, when I first clicked on a telescope, I was expecting a mini game to actually find and record the position of a star. Oh, really? I mean, that's the kind of cool thing that you'd want them to be able to do, right? Like, Living World can do anything. Let's have the little mini games in there, you know, let's keep... But I think Guild Wars does enough already as it is to keep throwing little games within the game. Oh, my sarcastic quip about the Modern Crescent. I love your Mesmer's name, Monkey Lord, LMAO. Yeah, I mean, it's just a really stupid, cheesy build that you can pretty much spam dodges and cooldowns and kill people. I mean, that's not fully true, but if there's any builds that I think is, like, grossly overtuned at the moment, I do think it's Condi Mirage with an axe. And, so, yeah. I actually made that character, the Monkey Lord, to be a Condi Mirage a bit back. But that was right after the Phantasm update earlier in the year, which, if you guys remember, was grossly overpowered. Now, they've been refining things down a little bit. Originally, I think I actually wanted it to be a Chrono. You remember how just obscenely busted Chrono became as soon as the Phantasm change went through? And then they had to, like, nerf Chrono Phantasma, the trait, to be that the second Phantasm only does half damage and all this other stuff, just to get it a little bit more in line. But, yeah, that's when I originally did it. It's likely I'll delete that character in upcoming metas and rename it to, you know, reclass it to whatever the next really stupidly busted thing is. Which I think might end up being a Rev, believe it or not. Because I reckon there'll be a Renegade rework, and I reckon it will come out busted, so the Monkey Lord will become a Renegade. That's my prediction by the close of the year. Let's look through. In the skies above, you see the star named Malix. Look at that, they did it. Who named a star Malix? That's so bizarre as well. Like, that's such a cool idea to name a star Malix, because when was that named? Your instinct is going to be that it was like post the events of the Ebony Citadel and Nightfall. But why? That's not necessarily a thing. You could say, well, maybe it was named Malix a lot earlier. Okay, so hold on. Let's think about it. Did people revere Malix in life? Well, hold on. What was Malix? He's a Marganite, but he's a monkey Marganite. And then you realize there's basically no information about the circumstance of Malix's creation or rulership or any of that. And so it's like, that could go really deep, you know? Really deep. And that's why it's so beautiful. I really like that. So anyway, it's Malix in the Graven Monolith. Look, it's in the Graven Monolith constellation as well, which are a really cool part of Abaddon's forces and like out there in the Realm of Torment with him and so on. We don't see them in Guild Wars 2. This is so cool. And a Graven Monolith was the original thing we fight in Farinor, which this episode will take us to. Genius. What genius wrote this? Malix and the Graven Monolith constellation located at 7H36. Malix, Graven Monolith, 7H36. You're down there at the bottom. Or was Malix named after the stars, Winky Face? Benji, you're a genius.
No.
I mean, I'm humbled to have a legitimate genius in my Twitch chat. I mean, honestly, I don't... now that you're there, I see you, and I'm just trying to find ways to impress you. But I don't think I can. You're just on another level. That's incredible, man.
Let's go to the Mordic Crescent now.
Alright, this one is perfectly positioned. This is a star named Phantasm in Lys's Mirror constellation. 3H plus 124. Phantasm, Lys's Mirror, 3H 124. Phantasm, Lys's Mirror, 3H 124. Boom. Oh, Dusty's going for a tourney as well. When is that spawning? Let's have a look. Oh, it's live now, isn't it? Grant's game, right? It's literally going right now. Look, I can spectate people. I actually recognize a lot of these people here. Like a lot of them. That's kind of weird. Yeah, Grant's game. Didn't we just miss it? Are you looking for the next one then? You're looking for Melandri's matchup. I should go for QP. I really should. I want that armor, man. I should go for QP and try and cheese my way through an NA1. Oh, the time shift. Fuck. Yeah, Dusty, you missed it, man. Yeah, the 1 hour time shift. There is a subsection for astronomy on the Tyria world page. Oh, I see. So you've got it as a section of like the general world page. That makes sense. That's fair. The telescope is positioned properly. Look through the telescope. In the skies above, you see the star named Autumn in the Gnarl of Melandru constellation. They're so great, man, that they tie, you know, the constellations with like stars that are of the theme of the constellation itself. So it's Autumn in the Gnarl of Melandru, located at 5H plus 88. Autumn, Gnarl of Melandru, 5H plus 88. Why does it feel like most of this game is just getting the numbers right rather than anything else? You don't even have to worry about the rest. I keep going over this edge when I don't need to. WP, any ideas on why Guild Wars 2 Hook doesn't let me have different presets for different maps? Oh, dude, that's a beautiful question you're asking there, because that is one of my favorite features of Guild Wars Hook that I was talking to Grenber about for a long time. What you might not know is before Guild Wars 2 came into existence, about 1.5 years before it, I got a group chat going with like 3 or 4 different prominent, talented people in the community who wanted to work on stuff. And what were we calling it? It was like Guild Wars 2 Visual Overhaul or something. But one of the big ideas, yeah, was basically to have map-specific presets and then have the community build the perfect preset for every map in the game. And you release it all as a big bundle, right? So it's slightly tweaked in Queensdale compared to Kessex, and you could separate for day and night as well, right? So you could have really dark nights in Ascalon and really nice orangey kind of days during the day, and it could work super well. They can even like slowly transition from one preset to the other based on time of day. And so it was really cool idea. But it kind of just evaporated and the work never got done, and we didn't discuss things enough, and it went away as so many things do. But then like a year and a half later, Grenber, and only Grenber, came back. And he built Guild Wars 2 Hook, and he just kind of winged it. And eventually Guild Wars 2 Hook got that feature in it too, but none of the presets and stuff got made. So I love that you're asking me that question, because you're interested in that, and that's super cool. I've not played with it though, so if you're having issues with it, I don't know what they are. So yeah, all right, let's keep going. Oh yeah, this was when they were still doing supply run adventures.
New weapons have been dropped off at our cache locations. If you could assist us, we'd appreciate it.
I really want to read this, how Cormyr did it. I've already read it. I don't remember what the specific detail is in there. All right, we're just going to cheese the end of it by doing the mirrors up top again, which I think you can do twice, right? I think they reset. Yeah, they do. How cool would it be if they connect the Tyria maps and made it all open in one big map? It's a cool idea, but I think fundamentally a very different or impossible thing to do for the game. Supply adventures and Griffin races are a really easy experience for leveling characters. That's good to know. Alright, great. So we've helped them out. All who oppose our kingdom's repression of historical and scientific truth are grateful for your support of our efforts. There you go. Okay, Sawa, I'm coming back. Have brought the stream to work because I needed to come in early to write loads of unit tests. Hello to Black Dragon's work. Hope you're doing good. Jeff Schaefer, it's great, man. Thanks very much for the sub there. It's good to see you. Also, earlier, Glassy Ducky, I think I missed you too, dude. All right, so, Sawa. Your efforts on our behalf haven't gone unnoticed, my friend. I don't know why I've given her a voice every single time we've seen her, but whatever. Can I see what you have for sale, please? So she sells a tar elemental. I already have those recipes and the volatile stuff. Jesus, the 100k karma each time. I've burnt so much karma on minis from Living Wild Maps. All right. I'd like access to the restricted archives, if that's okay. Wait. No, now we go back to Randa, don't we? So yeah, let's go back. I'll ride on the wall. They put a lot of work this episode into bonus animations. What do you mean bonus animations? Was she another level up? I guess she was, right? WP, do you have dinner before stream? Random question, but just popped into my head. Sometimes I do, absolutely, yeah.
Impressive. I think you've done more than enough to prove you're truly anti-Joko. You shouldn't have any problem getting Salwa to let you into the restricted archive. Tell her I've sent you to retrieve a book called Nightfall. The book will reveal the entrance to the Sunspear base.
Oh. Now, if you watched the stream 2 streams ago, we were literally in here, but no spoilers, please, guys. All right, super sneaky. All right.
Archivist Rada sent me to fetch a book for her. The title is Nightfall. She said you know it.
Every page, by heart. Rada has an eye for history. And apprentices, too, it seems. Enter, and do not fail her.
Nightfall. Nightfall.
I mean, this is amazing, right? I'm not, there's so much stuff that I'm not actually commenting on that I feel like I should. But you know, having us read the book Nightfall. So in the original, I think there were 2 different things of this actually, weren't there? Was it not a thing that Norgu was? Oh, we got a party request. That's fine. Was it not a thing that Norgu was writing a play called Nightfall? I think maybe. But the game mechanic where you complete campaign missions with an item in your inventory, this book, you scribe in the pages of the book and then you hand it in for reputation and stuff. That was called Nightfall. So that was definitely a thing, but there was also like a very real, like sincere thing. It was like Nightfall was the name of the story that was the book in the end. A very similar thing to The Lord of the Rings, right? Like that adventure, that story, that circumstance of that age of Middle-earth. The book we read is called Nightfall. The campaign we, as humans on Earth, we buy a game called Nightfall. The book we read is called The Lord of the Rings, but in-game as well, that event is also known as the same thing. And I don't just mean in terms of lore, because people knew the idea of the merging of realities was known as an event called Nightfall, but also that story that was being told with those characters dealing with the event Nightfall was titled Nightfall and became a book that people knew about called Nightfall. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there you go. There's a Guild Wars 1 wiki page called Norgu's Nightfall. Look at these trivia bombs, guys. So anyway, and then we get I don't know whether this is Norgu's Nightfall we're reading here. This is obviously a tampered version anyway, because look at this. This book has been heavily edited and altered, with handwritten notes scribbled throughout. Well, there is a page bookmarked. Turn to it. The Apocrypha challenged the great Palawa Joko to single combat, transforming itself frantically into form in an attempt to beat this unbeaten Lich King. So the Apocrypha is a... was it even a minion of Abaddon? It was kind of a thing under the influence of Abaddon. A creature, like a tablet made of stone, right? An ancient creature buried deep beneath Farron in the first city that you go exploring and find. And it had kind of been released by Cormier accidentally. Whoopsie. Anyway, it's kind of the first big story beat of Nightfall, kind of, where you realize the bigger story that's going on. And so this book, the Guild Wars 2 devs have us quite cleverly turn to this page and start talking about and thinking about the Apocrypha, because you know that it was like near the start of Nightfall. So this is already cool and puts a smile on your face. The word Joko is and obviously it's changed to be that Joko fought it and killed it, which is not true. The word Joko is highlighted. Continue reading. The king played with it for a time, deriving amusement from the melee, but soon his corpsefulness grew wary of the battle, and with a snap of his fingers, he felled the ancient creature. So this is a reference to Avengers Infinity War, which was due to come out in cinema maybe 3 or 4 months after... No, it's got nothing to do with that. But yeah, kind of funny. Continue reading. With the Apocrypha broken at his feet, the great Palawa Joko said, "It's just like you monoliths to crack under pressure." The undead king set off to corner to face the deceitful Ossa. So this is kind of funny, given the Halloween lore, that really showed how little he liked word plays and stuff, and that he really didn't seem to like it. This artist that has rewritten history has written him a little bit like Mad King Thorn there, and I'm sure he wouldn't actually like that much, but there you go. And so then he goes off to corner to deal with Varesh. This is kind of funny because the whole thing is setting up that... This is an interesting... Joko takes credit for killing Zaitan and even the heroes in Guild Wars 1, right? And it's weird because by taking credit for that stuff, he actually aligns himself with us here. What this is saying is that Joko fought Varesh Ossa, who we know was decidedly evil, which makes Joko seem like the good guy. And, you know, that's the point of the propaganda, right? To do that. But it's kind of a funny thing to seriously embrace and think about there. This is annoying when the UI does this. Skip ahead to the next bookmark page. Then Palawa Joko dared the demon to eat Cormier's eyes. This was the hunger. Do it! Dragging a blind woman through the abyss and back might actually prove a challenge. With a scream and a slurp, the demon obeyed. I like this as well. Cormier getting her face bitten and chewed up and losing her eyesight is really like such a visceral, like dark, like grim, cool part of her story, I think. Cormier's story is really, really sad, to be honest, but it's a powerful story too. It's like she's such a strong character for the crap she goes through. Like she is truly mauled and like her people devastated, and she just keeps fighting, right? And she keeps working. And she gets dragged into the abyss, and she just keeps going. I mean, it's so brilliant. And I love that this is here in Guild Wars 2, because it's like the writers of Guild Wars 2 demonstrating that they love that part of the story too. And I think you'd be right to. It's just so cool. Cormyr is just so strong. I'll tell you what, guys. I found a theme. Oh, where is it? Crap, I can't remember what it is. Hold on. Oh, this sucks. Anyway, so basically, you know I'm into the DC AU at the moment. This isn't actually the DCEU anyway, incidentally. But I found a Batman theme from one of their movies. Oh my god, one of the animated movies. So it was before Hans Zimmer scored the Dark Knight trilogy. But holy crap, it is so powerful and so heroic. It is awesome. I really wanted to find a link because this story is worth nothing if I can't link it to you guys. It is honestly so brilliant. And it's the kind of thing that, you know, the Cormyr story is like that. You know, it's just so dark, but she just keeps going. She's just so powerful. I really, really like the character. It's really cool. No, it wasn't from Mask of the Phantasm. I can't remember what the movie was because I haven't actually seen the movie. I've only heard the theme on YouTube. It's so good. It was phenomenal. Really, 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 really good track. I just checked my history, and I can't find it, unfortunately. So, I can find some links from the Batman Arkham City soundtrack. The guy that scored the movie also scored this this OST with this Batman theme that I was talking about. No, it wasn't the theme of the animated TV show. It was an animated movie. I will try one more Google. Because this is boring and this is not good quality content. Oh, here you go. It was from... here, I'll just link it to you guys. Here. It's from Christopher... Wait. Yeah, Christopher Drake. Was the composer. It's the end titles of one of the movies, The Dark Knight Returns, but animated, right? Anyway, it's really, really good. You guys should listen to it after the stream or during it. It's fucking great. Anyway. Then Palawa Joko dared the demon to eat Cormyr's eyes. Do it, dragging a blind woman through the abyss and back might actually prove a challenge. With a scream and a slurp, the demon obeyed. Continue reading. Is this the best Corner has to challenge me? Enough of this. To Vabi, he says. So we move on to Vabi. This could be a little bit of a nod to the silly animated video that makes fun of Cormyr's situation and stuff that then became a big in-joke for this community. The word is highlighted. Continue reading. Your false god will kneel before me, Ossa. His Majesty Palawa Joko gloated over the War Marshal's corpse. I shall protect the people of Alona from the nightfall you've attempted to bring upon them. I just have a cool idea here, right? The idea of this book is that it's propaganda for Joko that any awakened would read and just think everything's above board. But then the circle things is a hidden code to get you to the real knowledge underneath. What if the whole book, though, was written just to imitate what looks like standard propaganda, right? And that's why it has the pun thing in there, because it slightly misunderstands Joko's relationship with that kind of wordplay. That song, if you guys are listening to that, first of all, you shouldn't do it while listening to the stream as well. It's going to be too messy. You've got to put your headphones on. You've got to close your eyes and listen to that. But there's like 3 parts to that song. It's kind of very different track. There's a unifying like sense to it, but you can't judge it all just from the opening, I would say, anyway. You'll see from the comments, everyone's just shitting themselves about the middle of the track, basically, because that's where like the adrenaline really kicks in. Anyway, I shall protect the people from Alona and the nightfall you've attempted to bring upon them. The word false is highlighted. Continue reading. The great king then opened a rift into the realm of torment with his bare hand, and the god of secrets whimpered. Palawa Joker was coming, and none who stand in his way live to tell the tale. They're kind of messing the tense up there a little bit, aren't they? But, yeah, this is funny. Obviously, we never meant in Guild Wars 1 to go to the Realm of Torment. It was, we were trying to stop Varesh's ritual, but we were too late. And as she died, the rift was opening. In fact, as we were killing her, she'd succeeded and the rift was behind her and all torment creatures were coming out. But here they kind of tweak it that Joko just did it. It's kind of a fun idea. Turn the page. The next page is blank except for 3 glowing spaces. See, look, the whole book was architected, right? You recall the 3 glowing words in the book. Joko is false. So what do we do there with the 3 blank spaces? Do we actually write in the book? Do we speak to the book? What do we do there? I don't know.
That's dramatic.
You're damn right it's dramatic. And in we get. Beautiful. Man, this is a great release. This is genuinely a really, really, really great release. What's going on in the background of the webcam? It's hard to tell. I actually never made this cam. I don't know why we're using this one so much. It's possibly the whiskey, but looks like Guardian gameplay to me. We whisper into the book's pages, you think? Yeah, I mean, that makes more sense than we write into it every... And maybe the ink magically disappears, though. I mean, it is Tyrio, right? There's stuff. So here, and we find a little boy. I like this idea of like a little... Oh, wait, no. This is a full-grown man. It's just that I'm a Norn. That's cool. I actually like that I just had that experience. He is a full-grown man, right? He's not a little boy. How well-defined... He's got some pretty well-defined chest going on there. Hi, Commander. It is good to see you. Why are you stationed here? It is my duty to guard the way in and out of this place. Have you seen anyone suspicious come in or out? Our efforts to conceal the entrance from the restricted library have worked so far. May Cormir keep the truth from them until we're ready to strike. Glad to hear that. Keep up your good work. Alright, and there you have it. We are into the next part of the release, really. We got First Spear Hakina and a conversation, so let's do this.
Ahai, hero of Amnoon. I am First Spear Hakima of the Istani Sunspears.
You know who I am?
Every Sunspear knows who you are. And I believe we have some common interests. Joko's hold on Istan has weakened in his absence. Some of us here even dare to dream of a new era.
I left Joko rotting in a cage in the domain of the lost. Should definitely make for smoother sailing.
You would think. But the number of awakened grows. They're retaking towns we freed, including Champion's Dawn. And someone claiming to be Joko is offering rewards for the heads of his enemies. Especially yours.
So I hear. I'll tread carefully. To that end, I'm here to ask if you can get me into Faranor.
Oh, I'm afraid not. Only our leader knows the way. Spear Marshal Zaim guards that secret with his life. He rode south to retake Champion's Dawn from the Awakened. The priest there, Sazir, usually knows where he is.
Then that's where I'm headed.
Boom. So you have it. It's kind of easy to zone out in that last conversation there, actually. So hold on. Someone claiming to be Joko is offering rewards for the heads of his enemies, especially yours. Did we find this out? Who this was? Was it just Joko in the end? Sunspear Paragon support. Double click to summon a Sunspear Paragon for 2 minutes. It can only be used once every 30. I forgot about that as well. Is that actually... How good are Paragon support? How much damage do they do? Has anyone benched these? Has anyone done a benchmark? Do they support you much? It is Joko. Yeah, it was Joko, or maybe Lonai. It is funny. This is such a red herring in the end, you know. Or maybe not. Maybe the devs always thought that the obvious thing for us to question there was, oh, was it Joko? Only our leader knows the way. Spear Marshal Zaim guards that secret with his life. Alright, so we're going to go meet this fellow called Spear Marshal Zaim. Oh, weird. I thought that was only in the Jahai release. You get 25 for finishing the Sun's Refuge. Do you? Oh, damn. That's cool as well, then, that they're filtering those rewards through. Get some more lore. Is there something else you'd like to know? Well, actually, no. Let's hold that. So we're going to leave that for next stream there. We're going to leave that for next stream. So, do I do the Straits of Devastation meta? I don't know. Maybe I'll leave it for tomorrow, actually. Because I'm pretty goddamn tired and I don't want to do a bad job with it. Alright, yeah, screw it. We're going to leave it for tomorrow. We're going to do the Straits of Devastation meta tomorrow, guys. So that will be after the stream again, hopefully. And yeah, at that point, we'll be able to push forward with the LP. The thing is, because there's been a bit of a break with it now, what I'm really concerned about is doing a sloppy job on the next episode back, because then people will give it a try and then they'll immediately be like, oh yeah, screw it, because people lose their connection to it, you know. So yeah, we'll try and do it tomorrow. Sorry that you'll be at work there, Alpha X Neo. That's a shame. But yeah, so anyway, it's been very cool, guys. If you've got any other questions or anything you want to talk about very briefly here before I have to nip off, please do let me know. And I'll be happy to indulge you. If I missed a response earlier, then you know you can go ahead with that. Joker hires a lookalike, right? What if we only killed a double? Whoa, yeah, what if Arena ate a double? Well, she did get very sick from eating him, right? So I think the idea is that she really did consume something. And that double would be a hell of an actor to do that monologue. The interesting trivia here is what Jessica Price said about the Joker arc. They wanted to make it ambiguous whether Joker had returned or an imposter was doing stuff because they weren't sure what Path of Fire team had planned for Joker. Really? Were they still up up to decision at this point in the story? It's kind of funny to think, you know, that 1.5 episodes of story later, Joko's dead already, you know, and at this point, halfway through this release already, they don't even know 100% what they want to do just yet. Well-defined chest. Yeah, he did, man. You know, no kid's got pecs like that. There's a book in the secret room that you can't read properly until you do some of the Astralaria Axe collection. Really? That sounds amazing. We'll have to have a look at that tomorrow. You don't think the double could fart out all their magic? Yeah, exactly. Any advice on asking a woman out that you work with? I'm pretty sure if you ask someone out, guards hold you down immediately and charge you with sexual harassment, so I'm scared. Well, I don't know what kind of rapport you've got with her. Is it someone I mean, what's your workplace environment like? Are there tons of people and you very rarely actually speak? Is it like someone you sit next to at a desk? Do you know each other very well? I don't know what that really means, to be honest, formally working someone out if you know one another quite well. If you feel the vibe and they feel the vibe, it should be fairly mutual, right? I mean, I don't know whether this is... how do I phrase this? I've personally never had the experience of feeling like there's chemistry and then there wasn't chemistry. Does that make sense? I've never, like, had that. So the idea that if you talk a lot, it shouldn't be a weird... It shouldn't be a shock when you ask them out because they should be feeling the chemistry too. Does that make sense? If it's pretty much a stranger, they just happen to be at the workplace, then, you know, ask them out the same as a stranger, right? Does it matter? They mentioned on a guild chat at one point, the epilogue of Path of Fire was meant to show Joko leaving the gate in the domain. Ah, I really should be looking at their streams more because they do seem to give a lot of cool information. Fun fact, you can start the next stream with an AT. It starts at 5:15. Listen, man, Dosty, I'm not people don't really... First of all, I don't really like streaming PvP because I really hate streaming suboptimal play, and very often I end up making it while I'm streaming. So that's just thing number one straight away. But also, I don't really think there's much of an audience that cares about it at the moment. When asked why there wasn't communication between teams, Jessica responded on Reddit that they didn't always have time to chat with other folks, but sometimes decisions for story were not made for lore but other reasons. Interesting. I mean, I would never ask them that question because I'd never presume to know how difficult it is to manage, not micromanage, just manage so many different teams with so many moving heads and people. You know, I think it's probably quite miraculous they've got it going as good as they do. Well, I think the thing with ArenaNet is they're becoming masters of a very specific type of development and you know, pushing content out and stuff. And what I want to see them do is take that mastery with them into new products and things as well eventually, right? Like, it's excellent and it's been to the benefit of Guild Wars 2, but what I'd hate to see is that one day it all dries up, you know, what they've learned, what their workflows are, their methods of communication and cohesion and all that stuff, because that's a real valuable thing that the company has slowly created in itself. I'd hate to be thrown away, right? Eventually, for whatever reason. In 2018, you're not allowed to ask people out? Given how there were different replies from different devs like Jessica and Lindsay, they were probably different vague plans for Joko when they rewrote the entire Season 4 arc by reducing Joko's appearances and introducing Blish and Gorick to Season 4 when they didn't exist in the original draft. I wonder what the big problems were then, you know? I'm a big believer in... where was it I saw this? I don't even know where to ascribe this quotation to, right? I think it was some business quote. Oh, no, I remember. It was Richard Osman talking about selling TV formats. And, you know, what sells well and how to integrate statistics into the formats he uses. Anyway, there was a quote I heard once, right, basically, which was, if there's an obvious thing to do, it's probably the best thing to do. Most of the time, right? The obvious thing to do is the best thing to do. And I'm quite a big believer in that. I really am. And I'm not saying you can't refine and do massive draft sweeps and stuff, and I'm not saying that has no value, but I wonder, you have to assume that the first draft is the obvious thing to do. So I wonder what it was that they felt was so criminal or scary or bad about it, or uncreative or uninteresting, or whatever the problem was, the flaw was, that they refined it to such great degrees. I'd love to hear that kind of stuff come up on later guild chats, you know, once the season is done. That'd be brilliant. I always wonder that, though. A new comedy goof that everyone can play with. I'll add I'll bring a gun just in case to any activity that you're talking about. You liked this whole idea of not even knowing if Joker was back. Yeah, I think it worked pretty well in the releases as well. My understanding from all these dev replies is that they originally planned the story to go in a certain direction, but then they decided to go for Season 5 instead of X-Pac 3. And they had to restructure the story because of it. They've sadly never clarified the exact reasons. Now that I'm on board with, I think I can definitely understand that. So then there's the question of why would that have shifted? Because yeah, I can definitely believe that they were looking for X-Pac 3 very quickly. But so what was it that changed their mind? Money considerations? How well POF sold? Retention stats on POF? Gem store stats on POF? Living World? Was this like a really profound release because they wanted to know how much the gem store and mount skins and stuff would sell from Living World? Do you think that the Mount Gate backlash was like a big moment for them because it meant that they couldn't do certain things in the gem store they wanted to? They couldn't push things at the speed they wanted to. They didn't earn the money that they wanted to. And so then that refined everything and they had to slow down with the expansions and whatnot. I wonder about all these things, you know. Because it was a pretty hot period of time when this came out. It was spooky for a while. The theories about the imposter in red. Yeah, well, that was the Underworld stuff. And quite deliberate as well with what they were doing in the end. That was cool. It could be they wanted more expansion 3, more time to develop, so they wouldn't be rushed like they were with Heart of Thorns and arguably Path of Fire, which also faced some late rewrites affecting the Desolation plot. Yeah, I mean, you're taking a very narrow perspective there, though. I think in general, you know, there were definite things that could be better. We can always say things that could be better, and I do think from a story standpoint and pacing standpoint, it was a little bit weak in some areas, but pretty much everything in POF is better and larger and more expansive and cooler than Heart of Thorns, except all the reward structure, economy considerations, achievement considerations, and stuff like that. I think, and replayability considerations and meta event structuring and all that. I think all of that design was just really shoddy and bad in POF because they were basically pandering to Heart of Thorns feedback too greatly. So I don't actually know whether it's really fair to say POF was time crunched or whatnot. I think they had a good run of it there, which gave me confidence to see. I mean, the Season 5 thing is such a big reveal. I mean, it really is such a big reveal. And here's the other thing. Yeah, and I said this before as well. If there were Season 4 story rewrites because of a sudden decision, or an eventual decision, I should use. Sudden is not the right word. if there were Season 4 rewrites because of the eventual decision to go for a Season 5 before an expansion, why do those rewrites have us moving through the Joko story even faster? Because to me, if you get 2 full seasons to play with between expansions, it would make a lot of sense to go, Path of Fire was about Balthazar, Season 4 was about Joko, and Season 5 is about Kralkatorrik. Everyone gets one. That is like the obvious thing to do to me, you know, everyone gets their stuff. But instead it seems like Joko gets less screen time because they got more time budget, if you will, right? Which is a weird thing. So, I mean, the idea that Season 5 is Season 1, first of all, or that Season 5 is, you know, globetrotting again, where we're going all over the place, Delgamore Front gets thrown in, back to Ore and all that stuff, which means they can't really do a Joko-centric story or something. I don't know, though. It's so easy to conceive of that kind of stuff, you know. JP was brought on with POF. No, actually, it was at the end of POF she was brought on, I think. Episode 1 to 3 of Season 4 were already under development. They tied up what they could, making it more cohesive and taking on people's feedback from Path of Fire Season 3. And then they had Episode 4, which is why it's got a jump in quality. That's interesting. A theory, nonetheless. My favorite one for a while was the woman was read was Koss's wife. You mean Maloney? Or another wife? Was there a whole divorce and stuff that we are yet to talk about? We also see in ArtStation Art Dev comments that some creatures were literally last-minute additions, like the Elonian Drakes, Wargs, and the Sadhava. And as per guild chat, Hydra, yeah, Hydra. I knew about the Hydra one. I didn't know about a lot of those others. If a lot of the fauna of the expansion were last-minute additions, then perhaps, yeah, that's. I mean, that was what made it feel so good to me. I remember when the release, when it was being shown off in those early releases, and when we had the betas and stuff, having the Sadhava roaming around, having the sand snakes and the Hydra and all that stuff. Really, it was the fauna that nailed this in as such a drastically different, new, and exciting expansion stuff to me. That was really what got me going. That and some of the UI stuff, you know, the health bar thing that they eventually confirmed they couldn't do, and, you know, things like that. That was really cool. So it would have been really sad to hear, actually, if a lot of that never made it in, or wasn't prioritized, does it sound like it might not have been. I say it was actually good that Joker was not that long in focus. Maybe you're right, yeah. I'm not actually saying that it was a bad move in any way. I'm just trying to speculate on, you know, the reasoning behind the moves. I quit for 2 years. I'm starting again today. I'm overwhelmed. Dude, you got a lot to go through, man. A lot to go through. So it was that. So yeah, all right. Well, there you go, guys. Anyway, that's the stream. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A-ish thing at the start, the Q&A-ish thing at the end. I'll be back for more Living World tomorrow, and hopefully Straits of Devastation too. So cheers, everybody. Hope you enjoy your dinner, the rest of your evenings. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.